Good evening. This is the governing board meeting for April 3rd for the Phoenix Union High School District number 210.
I motion.
Is there a second? Motion to adjourn has been made by Board Member Pastor Rivera and seconded by Board Member Cross on the motion. Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now 3D, motion to adjourn the special meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn the special meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion to adjourn has been made by Clerk Oliver and seconded by Board Member Meyer. Yes? Okay. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Now we go to the regular meeting, which is called to order. Will the secretary please note that all board members are present? The first item on the agenda is 1C, Pledge of Allegiance and Moment of Silence. We will stand as Board Member Cross leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing while a moment of silence is observed. Please be seated. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is land acknowledgement. Please remain seated as Clerk Oliver reads the PXU land acknowledgement.
And this is what happens when you're late. Land acknowledgement. The Phoenix Union High School District is responsible for and committed to creating educational environments that prioritize the achievements of Native American students. We are committed to making their cultural identity visible by acknowledging that our school district resides upon the ancestral lands of the original caretakers, the Huhukam, ancestors of the Akam Odom, Ankh Akam Odom, Thono Atham, and Akchin. These sovereign nations are presently known as the Gila River Indian Community, Salt River, Pima, Maricopa Indian Community, Thono Atham Nation, and Akchin Indian Community. This formal acknowledgement is dedicated to the 22 sovereign nations of Arizona. PXU understands the importance of providing reparations through truth-telling. We recognize the historical injustices not traditionally taught in the classroom and are committed to practices prioritizing Native American knowledge, history, representations, and healing. We commit with an open mind to always respect the land, its histories, and its ancestors.
Board Member Meyer, will you please present the art display?
The Maryville High School art program continues to thrive and showcase the incredible talent and hard work of our PXU Phoenix Union students. Here are some of the exciting highlights from this year. Throughout March, Maryville's Art 1 students proudly displayed their artwork at a professional gallery in Old Town Scottsdale. Additionally, several students formed valuable connections with the Art 1 gallery and are now successfully selling their artwork there, gaining exposure and experience in the art world. Maryville ceramic students had the chance to sell their artwork at this annual event, helping to offset student fees while sharing their handcrafted pieces with the public. In support of his students, Principal Doty purchased a piece of artwork from one of Maryville's talented artists, further encouraging their artistic journey. 2 students participating in the prestigious Shemmer Art Setter Student Show, with one receiving an award for their exceptional artwork. Many students earned top honors at the Arizona State Fair, with 2 students winning first and second place for their impressive charcoal cup study drawings. Maryville also had 3 students recognized for their artwork at the annual Phoenix Union Art Show at the George Washington Carver Museum last week. In April, Maryville will host the annual Future Freshman Community Art Night that offers incoming students and the local community the chance to experience the talent and creativity of Maryville student artists. These accomplishments highlight the ongoing success and growth of the Maryville High School art program. The visual arts staff are incredibly proud of the dedication and passion their students continue to bring to the arts, and they look forward to all their creative achievements ahead. So, congratulations.
Thank you, Board Member Meyer. Next item on the agenda is 2A, recognitions and accomplishments. We are enthusiastic about the remarkable celebration scheduled for this evening. We'll acknowledge the outstanding achievements of our students and staff. Board Member Cross.
Oops. Can you hear me? Tonight, we are excited to celebrate a monumental athletic feat. The Central High School Bobcats are the 2024-2025 Boys Basketball State Championship. Woo! Woo-hoo! Led by Coach Bustos, this team went on a magical playoff run that included a victory over the Carl Hayden of Halkins in the semifinals in front of a standing room only crowd. In the championship game against Mountain Point, junior John Mattingly led the team with 21 points, and freshman Grant Mattingly contributed 17 points. The final score was 69-58, with the Bobcats bringing home the first basketball championship in school history. Congratulations, Central. We are proud of your performance on the court, and equally as proud of our church as your character off the court. Thank you, boys. Congratulations. Woo!
Clerk Oliver.
Tonight, I have the honor of celebrating one of the more unique offerings in PXU, the Academies at South Mountain. Give it up, y'all. They offer a program that produces future pilots who will one day fly us safely around the country. We invited 4 students who have completed their first solo flights this year. Although some could not attend, we want to congratulate and welcome Angie Flores and her instructor, Sarah Long, for completing her first solo flight this year. Yay, Angie. After graduation, Angie plans to attend California Aeronautical University so she can become a commercial pilot. For our aerospace students, the sky is never the limit, and we are so proud of you, Angie. I'll fly with you any day.
Board Member Meyer.
Finally, we want to celebrate an incredible Phoenix Union educator this evening. Last month, Miss Amanda Bailey from Maryville High School was named the Kathleen Lindholm Lane Arizona Dance Educator of the Year by the Arizona Dance Education Organization. In addition to the dance, Amanda is also a certified yoga therapist and has been working at Maryville High School for 20 years. Ms. Bailey has played a direct role in the development of the dance curriculum, as well as dance assessments at the district and state levels. This is one of several awards and recognitions Ms. Bailey has earned over the years, and we are so lucky to have her in Phoenix Union. Congratulations, Ms. Bailey, for being named the 2025 Kathy Lindholm Lane Arizona Dance Educator of the Year.
All right, make sure you guys can see the camera so that the camera, there we go, that's perfect.
Perfect.
This
Okay,
is awesome.
everybody.
Nice and tight.
Look over here. This way a little bit. Yeah,
In the center,
perfect.
there we go.
1, 2, 3. Coach 2, can you scoot this way a bit? Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Perfect, thank you.
Everybody?
Thank you for making us so proud. Keep being the future of Phoenix. Wherever you go next year. If you're juniors, please stay. Thank you. Thank you. Superintendent. You guys should get like extra. Thank you. Did I get everybody? Yep. Did I forget anyone? No. Anyone from the team that isn't here? I'm gonna go do one more. Trust you, coach? Trust you?
It's five. It's five. Pause, pause, slow. Five. It's five. It's five. I'll touch you. Why do you like 6, 7?
I would love to start every board meeting with a championship, so y'all, that would be awesome. The next item is 3A, reports from student government. Tonight, we have student government representatives from Academies of South Mountain, Phoenix Digital Academy, and Carl Hayden Community High School. Our student government representatives this evening will highlight their schools in this order. Deaja Hedgepeth and Trinity Martinez from South, Alyssa Marquez and Haven Salas from Digital, Giselle Reyes and Johanna Moreno from Hayden. I know her. Welcome. Will you please provide your report? South Mountain. Academies at South Mountain.
Good morning. Well, good afternoon, morning. Sorry, I plan to go second. Okay. I am Deaja Hedgepeth, and I am the student body president of South Mountain High School. Unfortunately, my senior class representative couldn't make it today, but she does send her best regards. However, I will hold strong as I stand as an advocate for my fellow students. Okay. Today, I will be starting off with the highs of my spectacular school. There has been a drastic change in the amount of student participation this year. My Stugo hosted a student panel, and we heard a great amount of positive feedback about our student-centered activities. This includes Spirit Weeks, lunch activities, Fun Fridays, and more. Another positive note is the cultural awareness on campus. As we know, South is the heart of South Phoenix, where culture is rich and diversity flows. At South, we showcase our cultures with fun assemblies. Our Black Excellence Assembly, which was during Black History Month, allowed BSU members to celebrate fashion, music, and historical figures. Our Cesar Chavez Assembly encouraged one of our largest populations on campus to show us culturally rich dances and gave us insight into Cesar Chavez's legacy. Our school not only values fun, but also the community we came from. Here are a few pictures where students went out and supported their community. In addition to helping, we felt so much support from our community. We see alumni constantly looking for opportunities to partner with South and show support, and we're truly grateful. Last but not least, I must acknowledge the greatness our class of 2025 have, as they are on path to success. Below are students who have shown greatness through college commitments, scholarships, leaderships, and more. We have Sonae, our captain of cross country, a two-time state qualifier, scholar, and more. We have Brianne, an amazing varsity basketball player who committed to Phoenix College Bears with a full ride. And Angie over here has, as y'all know, our quiet yet talented senior who is a part of the aerospace program to become a pilot. We have seniors who are attending Ivy Leagues like Dartmouth, becoming pharmacy technicians, and more. And we must give credit to our amazing school, South Mountain. But of course, we're not perfect. As we conducted the student panel on campus, we wanted to hear what we could improve. The main concern was the lack of student-teacher connection. Our students feel that sometimes their teachers are all work and don't have time to help them become the scholars that they want to be. Of course, this affects student morale, grades, and motivation. But you see, this is just a minor setback for the major comeback. Oh, you can go to the next slide. To open the door for student-teacher connectedness, we encourage teachers to show students that they are human as well. For example, we started hosting monthly student versus staff sports events during lunch. So far, we conduct a basketball game and a volleyball game and plan to introduce a variety of other activities to increase the morale and connections outside of the classroom. We've also had teachers perform at our assemblies, which students loved. We plan to make these events bigger and provide more opportunities as the year goes on. We also intend to continue our student panels and continue meeting with our campus committee to present our findings and work together for solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Digital.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Marquez, and I just want to say thank you to Daisha for her presentation. I am the student body vice president at Phoenix Digital.
And my name is Haven Salas, senior class president at Phoenix Digital Academy.
Phoenix Digital, also referred as PDA, is a fully online program within the Phoenix Digital High School District, Phoenix Union High School District, offering honors, advanced placement, dual enrollment, and world language courses. Every class is self-paced. PDA allows students to engage in their coursework anytime and anywhere. This flexibility provides students the opportunity to complete their high school education who have otherwise been unable to do so on a comprehensive campus. PDA offers students an individualized approach to their education. PDA offers the same flexibility to all students in the district with the opportunity for concurrent enrollment. This allows students to make courses at their home campus. This allows students to take courses at their home schools and at PDA at the same time. Currently, we have 953 full-time students and 1,185 concurrent students, for a total of 2,138 students enrolled and attending Phoenix Digital.
Everyone has their own reasons for attending PDA. During my sophomore year of school, I found out after some blood tests and a trip to the hospital I had cancer. Unfortunately, due to the intensity of my chemo, I could no longer attend my comprehensive school, so I started attending Digital Academy to make sure I could graduate on time like I've wanted to. I really like PDA. It's flexible and the people there are always kind. Still me. Clubs are an important part of connecting the students to our school and learning. Each club offers a variety of opportunities online and in person, so students can build a community and gain similar experiences to those on our comprehensive campuses. One of our biggest events for student government is prom. Last year, PDA and Linda Abril partnered with Grand Canyon University to host an Enchanted Forest prom. It was a great experience. It was a great experience for all.
Leaders from our school attended the Future Leaders Town Hall meeting on October 18th, 2024. This meeting, this was the only meeting of the year in which youth had an opportunity for their voices to be heard. This was a great opportunity to learn how to advocate for our needs, share our opinions, and network with the community members. At the meeting, one of our students won a suite to the Suns versus Magic game. Here's a couple of pictures of the fun event that we were able to attend. Also, students had the opportunity to participate in and represent Phoenix Digital Academy at the PXU Expo. This was a wonderful opportunity for our leaders to share about PDA and build a community.
We are very excited to announce that PDA has earned an A letter grade. Get a little. Next slide. Okay. The concern of AI usage was presented. The goal for addressing this concern is to ensure AI-generated content is used ethically and does not result in plagiarism. Next slide. Okay. Our plan will involve 1, creating specific school policies, 2, focusing on AI usage as a guide and not for a replacement for completing the work, and 3, citing AI when necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Digital. I actually have a question. I have a question. Can we go back to the action plan? One slide up. The plan of action, is there some training that students receive to make sure that if they are using AI as a guide, that they fact check it? Because AI will generate non-factual content.
Yes, so I understand your question, but I am also more than welcome to take that back to my school and talk about your question and concern to my principal and those who need to know about it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay. Yay. Carl Hayden Community High School.
Good evening, President Napa, Governing Board members, and Superintendent Andrade. Our names are Giselle Reyes
And Joanna Moreno.
and we are the Student Body President
And the Student Body Vice President of Carl Hayden Community High School for the 2024-2025 school year. Carl Hayden Community High School is proud to announce the launch of its groundbreaking dual language program for the 2024-2025 school year, becoming the first Phoenix Union High School to launch such a program. The dual language program provides an immersive experience for students in both English and Spanish. Students receive direct instruction for half of their core classes in each language. The initiative of this program aims to provide students with an enriching educational experience that not only focuses on bilingualism, but also equips them with the skills necessary for college success, career, and life.
This quarter, Carl Hayden launches the ALAS Mentorship Program. ALAS stands for Attend, Lead, Achieve, and Succeed. The ALAS Mentorship Program is dedicated to promoting school attendance by empowering students to attend constantly to school, lead by example, achieve their goals, and succeed in their academic and personal lives. Through mentorship, encouragement, and support, we help students recognize the importance of showing up every day to reach their full potential. Over 140 students were selected to be part of this program, which will be mentored by 30 volunteer staff members, which includes teachers, safety assistants, non-teaching staff, office staff, and administration. Carl Hayden High School has earned College Board AP Computer Science Female Diversity Award for expanding young women's access to AP Computer Science, CPS. Through these diversity awards, the AP program acknowledges 1,153 schools for their work towards improving female representation. Our school is one of only 847 schools to achieve this accomplishment. Student Government and Spanish National Honor Society hosted a trunk or treat on October 31st, 2024, for our Carl-Hayden community to have fun and to have a safe space to trick or treat. Teachers and clubs handed out candy for extra fun. We also had inflatables and food trucks for our community. Our event was very well attended, not only by Carl-Hayden students, but as well as our community.
1 second. Can we bring that other slide back up? Is that Mr. Worldwide right there?
Yes.
Thank you.
Our school job fair was held on March 20th of this year. The job fair was an opportunity to allow our Carl-Hayden students to explore career options, connect with potential employers, and learn about jobs, internships, and educational paths, often featuring booths from various companies and organizations. Next slide, please. This year, Carl-Hayden Student Government had the opportunity to help host Phoenix Union's District CBT Valentine's Day Dance on February 13th. This dance gave our students enrolled in the CBT program a chance to enjoy themselves and connect with other students across the district. Student Government surveyed the students by sending them a form to complete to let us know what concerns they had on campus. The number one concern the students had was the lack of restroom availability throughout the school day. Our goal is to help our students have allowable access to the restrooms during the school day. Next slide, please. Student body officers met with our principal, Dr. Rubio, to create a plan of action to have more availability to our restrooms. He shared with us due to high amount of vaping, our safety team was forced to close our restrooms to prevent vaping. Together, we decided we can create schedules of when the restrooms are open and closed that we can post outside the restrooms. We will have monthly meetings with our principal to discuss our progress on the plan. At this time, we want to thank the governing board for giving us the time to directly report about our successes, activities, and opportunities that are able to be offered to the students at our schools, as well as presenting the status of our plans to help our school with their issues and concerns moving forward. Thank you and have a good evening.
I do have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So regarding the restrooms, can you describe what it looks like right now? Like, do you have to ask for like a hall pass and then get escorted to a restroom? What is your experience as a student?
Well, as a student, I feel like, well, we do have the e-hall pass that they did enforce, and yes, it has been very helpful, but as well as there is an issue like deciding on what restroom to use because they are unfortunately closed.
Can you explain more what the e-hall pass is?
The e-hall pass is just basically a pass that you obviously ask the teacher when you need the restroom, and they make you make the pass, and then they'll either deny it or let it pass, and then you're allowed to go to the restroom, but you have to choose on who is the teacher you're departing from the room and the restroom you're going to.
Okay. And is that, because you said is that digital or?
It's an electronic pass.
Oh,
yes.
okay, that's new from when I was there. Okay, that is interesting. It doesn't tell you like what restrooms are available, you just have to like wander until you find one open? Okay, thank you for providing more clarity on that.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, good job.
Thank you.
The next item is 3B, reports from employee organizations. Our representatives reporting tonight are Mr. Esteban Flemons, CTA President, Ms. Anastasia Jimenez, CEA President, and Mr. John Doherty, ADA President. Mr. Flemons.
Good evening, President Napa, Andrade, governing board members, community and staff here and virtually. I'm Esteban Flemings, Phoenix Union High School District CTA president, standing in front of you representing our 1,000 certified educators in PXU. And I'm here tonight to express our gratitude for the work that we've done and let us know that even though we do still have differences on some things, I'm so hopeful that we can all just come together and get things done in these unprecedented times. When I was here in February, because I was gone for our March meeting, I expressed my initial frustration with the guidelines set forth by this for the Budget Committee. But I'm very appreciative to see how things took place in the final selection process. I did listen to the last meeting, and I know that this group of people is going to have to wrestle with some really difficult challenges over the next several years. However, I do have, after having listened to everyone, trust all of their judgment in those decisions and recommendations that are going to come to this body. I believe that in leadership, we cannot do everything on our own, and we must put people in to fill in those spaces. We must select people that can go forward and represent all groups' best interests. And even though sometimes in representing that best interest, the final results may not be something that we necessarily like or enjoy, we have to embrace the work that was done. And I know that tonight we're going to have some speaking about some concerns regarding the bell schedule, possibly regarding advisory. And I will say that the committee members that were on those groups, CTA did trust and put those work in, and we trust the district's work to make those things happen. With that said, I also appreciate all of the members and staff members who will come up here and speak about their concerns from their campus because they are speaking for their representatives as well. So it's that hard balance of what works best for Central, but also what works best for the 20,000 students in PXU. And making that balance is super difficult. But I also really appreciate the engagement that is brought forth in CTA for people being here tonight and coming to speak. And I look forward to that continued engagement moving forward because I think that healthy dialogue, both positive and criticisms, is what all organizations need. Knowing all of that, though, I really do hope that we can all, as we move forward in the future, recognize that things are going to get messy out there in general. CNN was not a good thing to be reviewing today. Feeling for people who are getting close to retiring and watching their 401ks plummet is a stressful time. And I know that I have members who decided to pull back their retirement because they didn't know what was going to happen 2 months ago. And now I got several messages today saying, I'm really glad I did that because if I had put it in my retirement in January, I don't know where I'd be right now, and I might be trying to come back to the district. So I hope that as we move forward, even though we will have our differences, that we all recognize we are at least all moving in the correct direction for public education and for our students. And that's where we all need to be together at, because there are people out there who are not there for that. And those are the people who are causing the stress and the extra gray hairs that are showing up at this point in time on my head. With that being said, I want to thank you all for being here. I'm excited to continue to work with the district leadership and with the board. And I'm excited that our next governing board meeting will be May 1st, which is International Workers' Day. And I know that across the state there will be actions that will be taking place that day from AEA and other labor organizations. And I'm sure that we'll all hear about some things when we get back. So with that said, there's 7.5 weeks left in this semester. There's a ton of work to do, and I look forward to working with everyone, including my union siblings with CEA and ADA, you as the board and the leadership. And with that, have a wonderful evening. And thank you all.
Mr. Flemings, I have a question.
I do. I might have an answer.
Oh, I don't know. This is just a side comment, but
sure.
We did have, you were my IB coordinator. I don't know if the board knew that.
I know.
So I think it's funny every time I see you here. I was like, he was at my school.
You were at my school.
Oh, that's true. But now
we'll phrase it that way.
Now it's our school.
It's our school. I do like that. I'll meet you in the middle on that one. It's our school.
I did have a question regarding like how to reach out to board members. I remember on the last meeting you said that you wanted more engagement from, like you were disappointed to see that we didn't have anyone from the from the CTA involved in the budget committee.
For sure.
So as a new board member and establishing those relationships, I was wondering.
I think right now our board buddy program is, I think, the best way to move forward right now. They've done a great job of communicating things back. I spoke with several of the board buddies, and they really appreciate the conversations they've had with all of you and what's come back. In addition, I think with the people on the budget committee, just sharing those things out. Also, if there's ever a bit to talk one-on-one to make sure we meet open meeting laws, I am always happy to have a coffee and give you sort of my 2 cents about where we think things are going. So please don't hesitate to reach out, and my information is readily available.
Okay, and can you explain what the board buddy program is? We have 3 new board members.
For sure. So it's something that we've started. It's been in other districts before, but we do have CTA members who have created board buddies. We have a separate committee outside of CTA, it's our political action committee, who has sort of assigned people to work with board members. And it's a CTA member just to touch base and talk with you a little bit about what you think's going on, what are some of our priorities, and just sort of get the teacher vibe from the campus level, beyond what I say as the president that I come up here, but just like one-on-one. So I know there have been several meetings, and we're looking forward. It's something new we're starting, so we're looking to grow. So things, like everything else, we're not perfect yet, but we're moving with it.
Oh, I'm excited to hear from my board buddy.
Sounds good. We'll make sure it gets taken care of, all right?
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you all. Have a good one.
Can I make a comment on that, because I do have a board buddy?
Yes.
Through the
And
chair,
I've met with my board buddy.
through the chair, board member.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Good.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Ms. Anastasia Jimenez, CEA President.
Good evening. Good evening, President Napa, Superintendent Andrade, governing board members, and the PXU community. Thank you for having us here again tonight. I do want to keep my report a bit brief, so thank you, Mr. Flemons, for your commentary. It's actually quite spot on, and the way that we collaborate, I truly appreciate. So that's a side from what I have to say tonight, but just thank you. Tonight I'd like to highlight a few key items from CEA. I understand, as we heard, this is a busy time of the year for most folks. And just to be honest with you all, I do have another appointment I must attend directly after this tonight's report. So therefore, I encourage you all to please reach out to me and or the CEA officer team via email. And if I can just make an ask for our contact information just to be shared with the board. Thank you. So if you have further questions or would like to bring up any considerations to our attention, please by all means reach out to us. We would love to have conversations with each and every one of you. But just to make a note of that, please. I'd like to give a shout out to my CEA officer team, Mr. Nito, Ms. Gomez, and Ms. Munoz, for consistently showing up for our staff and our members every day in both their capacities as PXU employees in their critical positions and as part of the CEA team. You volunteer time and efforts to this association and its work, and I don't believe I've done right by you all in publicly acknowledging and celebrating your dedication. The work we do is never easy, but you all persist, which to me is admirable, so thank you. I also want to thank my fellow CEA Budget Committee members for their participation and enthusiasm for being involved in this governing body's work. Your input will be invaluable to the committee's efforts, and I look forward to all the discussions we will have in the coming months. So thank you, Superintendent Andrade, for your approval and appointments for that team. Next, I'd like to highlight the efforts of our talent and payroll departments as they roll out our ESP contracts and placements for the next school year. It is time-consuming and often very detailed. However, the work that they do behind the scenes is incredible, so thank you everyone involved in that process. And then lastly, one of our significant advancements has been the signing of a MOA, which was proposed by CEA in IBN sessions over the last 2, possibly 3 years. So the MOA on disconnecting from work is crucial for our operations as classified staff regarding legal compliance, employee well-being, and the efficiency of the district. The MOA represents a proactive step toward creating a supportive and legally compliant work environment benefiting both employees and our organization as a whole. So please consider that and approve it for us, please. We would love that. And so this will complete my report for this time, but thank you. And again, please feel free to reach out to our team. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. John Doherty, ADA President.
Good evening, President Napa, members of the board, Superintendent Andrade, and Phoenix Union community. Tonight, my message is singular. I'd like to bring light to and appreciation for one of our divisions. On behalf of the Administrators Association, I'm proud to recognize and celebrate the incredible work being done in the Student and Family Services Division. Under the leadership of Executive Director Alyssa Tarkington, this division is grounded in a belief in authentic engagement with school community. And its success is deeply rooted in strong partnerships with families, staff, and the broader PXU community. Their commitment to supporting the academic, the social, the emotional, and the behavioral needs of our students is vital to our collective mission of preparing every learner for success in college, career, and life. I know that at a campus, we can't do our work without them. It's too much. Their efforts are a critical component of every campus team striving to meet the comprehensive needs of our learners' learning communities. Led by Director Cindy Tessero, the Family and Community Engagement Department recognizes the meaningful family and community involvement is essential to student growth. This team provides resources and support in the areas of parent engagement, refugee and immigrant support, and services for unique populations, such as McKinney-Vento, foster, and unaccompanied youth. Through the Engagement Center and campus-based services, this department strengthens family-school partnerships, which are proven to improve student attendance, achievement, behavior, and relationships across the board. Director Matthew Georgia in the Multi-Tiered Systems of Support Department ensures students have access to robust systems of social, emotional, behavioral, and mental health supports. Whether students are coping with trauma, transitions, or emotional distress, PXU's social workers and support service teams are equipped to provide targeted interventions and connect families to a broad network of community resources. This team ensures that no student's needs go unaddressed. Under the guidance of Director Nikki Allward, the Office of Student Achievement provides critical wraparound services designed to enhance the academic and social-emotional growth throughout a student's high school journey, from middle school transition to a comprehensive freshman house experience, and from academic counseling to post-secondary navigation. This department ensures that each student is guided and supported and prepared for their next steps in life. Director Brian Fair leads the effort to ensure every student has access to a wide array of extracurricular opportunities, including athletics, clubs, and activities via the Office of Student Connectedness. These programs are intentionally designed to foster engagement, leadership, and a sense of belonging. Research and PXU data consistently shows that students that are involved in extracurriculars demonstrate improved grades, attendance, motivation, and graduation rates. This department's mission is rooted in the belief that 100% student participation is not just a goal, it's a commitment to the development of the whole child. And finally, the Office of Student Support, led by Director Janine Aguilar, is committed to equity and inclusion, is responsible for fostering safe, supportive, and inclusive learning environments across all PXU's campuses. Through the implementation of the Phoenix Union Student Code of Conduct, they promote restorative practices and clear expectations of student behavior. This office works closely with campus leaders to address disciplinary matters equitably, restoratively, and with the attention to each student's individual needs and rights. The combined efforts of these 5 departments make the Student and Family Services Division an essential pillar to our district's success. We are grateful for their relentless dedication to the well-being and achievement of every Phoenix Union student. And on behalf of all administrators out on campuses and elsewhere, we thank them for their dedication and work. And as always, on behalf of administrators, thank you all for your continued dedication and service to Phoenix Union and our learning community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doherty. Okay, call to the public for A. Can we play the audio, please?
According to ARS 38-431.01H, at the conclusion of the call to the public, members of the public body may respond to criticism made by those who address the public body, may ask the staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members may not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. We would like to caution members of the audience about commenting on a particular individual and thank you for not referring to any person by name. In order to avoid any concerns with interpretation services, please be aware of the following. We have a Spanish interpreter available to join you at the podium while you address the governing board. Only the PXU assigned interpreter will provide interpretation services. If you have a script on paper or on a device, we ask that you make it available for the interpreter. In order to provide accurate interpreting, we ask that you speak for approximately 2 to 3 sentences at a time and pause for interpreting. You will be given double the amount of time to address the governing board as a result. As usual, we ask that you end your comments when your official time allotment has ended.
Para evitar dificultades con los servicios de intérprete, tenga en cuenta lo siguiente. Tenemos un intérprete de español disponible para acompañarlo mientras se dirige a la mesa directiva. Solo el intérprete asignado por el distrito proveerá servicios de interpretación. Si tiene su mensaje en papel o electrónicamente, le pedimos que lo ponga a disposición del intérprete. Para brindar una interpretación precisa, le pedimos que hable aproximadamente de 2 a 3 oraciones a la vez y haga una pausa para el intérprete. Como resultado, se le dará el doble del tiempo para dirigirse a la mesa directiva. Como de costumbre, le pedimos que finalice sus comentarios cuando termine su tiempo asignado. Gracias por su cooperación.
Good evening. Presentations tonight are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes. Tonight, we have the option for members of the public to participate in person and virtually. Currently, we only have those registered with the blue card, so let's get started. As I call your name, I will call the name of the person immediately, and then I'll call the next person so you can get ready. So I would like everybody to please state your name, indicate the agenda item or topic you wish to speak about, and of course, limit your presentation to the 2 minutes, and the clock is up on the board. Our first speaker is Dr. Julio Rubio, and following that, Fernando Sanchez.
Buenas noches a todos, Governing Board, President Napa, Superintendent Andrade, and Co-Phoenix Union Community. I'm Dr. Julio Rubio, the principal at Carr-Hayden High School. In April, we recognized Multilingual Learners Advocacy Month, a time to celebrate the incredible assets of multilingual students that multilingual students bring to the Phoenix Union community. Our students and families speak over 100 languages, with 45% of families speaking Spanish as their primary home language. Multilingual learners currently enrolled in language services represent close to 18% of our students. These students are not just learning multiple languages. They are building bridges between cultures, enhancing cognitive skills, and preparing to thrive in the global economy. Research shows that multilingualism strengthens problem-solving, creativity, and communication. Here in Arizona, where diverse languages and cultures shape our identity, multilingual learners contribute in countless ways. They enrich our classrooms with unique perspectives, strengthen our workforce, and foster cultural understanding. They are the future leaders, educators, and innovators, and it is our responsibility to support their success. I encourage members of this board to champion research-based programs that honor and develop these strengths, such as the innovating dual language program that was launched at Carr-Hayden this school year. Expanding these initiatives ensure that students maintain their home languages while mastering English, setting them up for a greater academic and professional achievement. Also, offering a dual language program provides a choice for families and promotes enrollment. I want to thank our Superintendent Andrade and her team for their support in the successful implementation of our dual language program. And I commend the board for developing board goals that focus on the academic achievement of our multilingual learners. But advocating for multilingual learners, we're not just supporting individual students. We are investing in a stronger and more inclusive Arizona. So let's continue celebrating our...
Thank you, Doctor. Fernando Sanchez, followed by Nidra Shepard.
Hi, I'm Fernando, and I want to talk about the SEI proposal. Last Friday, at the end of our shift before a 3-day weekend, the ELDILs were presented with a proposal of changes to our district SEI model. The facilitator of the meeting told us that it is the school's principal who should be sharing the news with staff. The thing is, these changes will have a major impact on ELD departments across the district. I believe the news should be shared out to everyone by district leadership. Because let's face it, across the district, principals have different styles of communication. So with so many principals being told to message out the same thing, it's going to become a game of telephone. Different campuses will hear different things or highlight and downplay different aspects of the proposal. If your district leadership is so proud of the work they do, they should be able to speak on it instead of passing it down the line. At our meeting, I asked this question: when will teacher input be sought regarding the changes to the SEI models and greater impact to the mainstream classes? We were told that we as ILs count as teacher input, so no need to run this by other teachers. With that response, I would like to bring attention to the following. I am still a novice ELD teacher. I greatly depend on the support of my peers. Since ILs count as the voice of all teachers, I gotta say this. I am the only Latino male ELD IL for this entire district. Our ELD team is more gatekept than inclusive. The population that we serve resembles me. I am an immigrant. I share an understanding of certain lived experiences that sometimes are hard to voice, like many of our students. I am constantly othered at work. It's horrible. Think of the demographics of who we serve versus who has a voice. Because of this, I strongly believe that teachers in this district should be given an opportunity to ask questions and share their thoughts on the ELD proposal before it gets approved, and it should be messaged out by district leadership. I also hope that you as board members give serious thought to this proposal before making a decision, because it is impacting a very, very vulnerable population, and we're all going to watch it play out next year. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nidra Shepherd, followed by Talia Shaden.
Good evening. I'm Nidra Shepherd, and I'm speaking as one Black woman individually. First, I would like to thank Superintendent Andrade, Dr. Allen, board members Ross, Oliver, and Cross for attending the Taste of Soul that was held at South Mountain High School. What I want to talk about is what you did. You showed up and you made a commitment to the community by being there and letting the community know that you care. Showing up means community, caring, compassion, and we need all those things for all the stakeholders. But I do have a couple questions. Do I care about the bell schedule? I care about anything that's going to get my students in my classroom. Do I care about whether or not absence and tardies affect the students' education? Absolutely. But policies without consequences is not caring enough. The conversation has been a long time coming. It has a long history. Do I care about students walking around using the N-word without a care in the world, without a second thought? Of course I do. You know I'm old. Do I care about schools named after races? Do I care about the integrity of hiring and firing process? Do I care about safety? Do I care about the survey that told you something that we've been telling you for years? And I know my time is about to run out. I have one job, and that's to make sure that I give the best education to the most students I can without bias, prejudice, family connection, or otherwise. So in doing my job, I'm letting you know that it depends on the factors that are way beyond my control. And I ask you to think about my questions and give me an answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Talia Shaden, followed by Cookie Chang.
Good evening. My name is Talia, and I'm a first-year biology teacher, and I'm also a very proud and open lesbian. I have been appalled to learn how schools are routinely hiding info and about the mental and physical health of their students from parents, the practice of encouraging children down a path with irreversible Repercussions and hiding it from their parents must end. Attempts by school officials to separate children from their parents, convince children to feel unsafe at home, or burden children with the weight of keeping secrets from their loved ones is a direct affront to the family unit. These are the words of former wrestling promoter Linda McMahon, who now happens to be our Secretary of Education of the United States. In an effort disguised as parental rights, her, alongside the acting director of the Student Privacy Policy Office, have launched a direct assault on students, teachers, and administrators alike. Under this guidance, transgender students will be outed under no exception, forcibly to their families, accepting or not. Sexual minority and transgender youth experience higher rates of every single type of peer victimization, sexual and dating violence, and family violence. Many trans youth experience family rejection and the subsequent violence and abuse. Even if after hearing about this, you don't care about transgender youth, you don't care what happens to them, will you stand for your teachers and administrators to be treated like opulent criminals, gatekeepers, child abusers, malicious indoctrinationers because of acceptance? What will you, as district leadership, tell the SEA when you must submit a report to the Department of Ed about policies surrounding FERPA and PPRA when they have been used to justify an abhorrent extreme? What will you tell our already declining numbers in our student body? I am calling on all of you to act in decency. If hashtag this is who we are, show me and every single queer student, teacher.
Thank you. Thank you. Cookie Chang, followed by Amanda Taylor.
Good evening, President Napa, Governing Board members, Superintendent Andrade, and PXU members. My name is Cookie Chang. I am a staff member from Central High School, and I would like to voice my concern over the proposed bell schedule change on behalf of some of our union members, some of whom are standing behind me. Our students face unique circumstances when it comes to transportation to and from campus. More than half of our students, about 60%, take the Metro Light Rail on a daily basis. Due to these circumstances, I believe it is critically important to keep in mind the light rail train schedule. If the current proposal is upheld, hundreds of students will be waiting on the platform at least 10 to 15 minutes for the first train to arrive. Not all of our students are able to leave on a single train, meaning our students will be standing on the platform until 4 p.m. to start their commute home. This brings up a multitude of safety concerns regarding the heat, stagnant students on a relatively small platform, and an increase in traffic around rush hour. Our administrative team has met with Valley Metro multiple times, who currently are unwilling to modify their train schedule or add more streetcars in order to meet our campus needs. This is why I believe it is crucial to consider the Metro Light Rail schedule when determining our bell schedule for the upcoming school year. I understand that there has been a slightly modified schedule that was sent out today, but I believe that that schedule is not sufficient to address all of our concerns. A proposed starting time would be 7:45 or 8 a.m. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Amanda Taylor, followed by Megan Christensen.
Good morning, board members. Sorry, talk a little louder. My name is Amanda Taylor. To give you a little background on me, this is my 11th year teaching at Maryville High School. In addition, I am a very proud Maryville High School graduate and a parent, volunteer, and supporter of the Cartwright School District, where my child also attends, and in just one more short school year, will be coming to Phoenix Union. My concerns tonight are about our student code of conduct and the revisions that they're undergoing. In particular, the guardrails being put on President Napa when looking at that code of conduct. We all know student discipline is a huge issue. We've been on these campuses, we've talked to our students. We also know that the prison to school pipeline is a huge issue. What we don't often talk about is there is more than one pipeline to get there. And another way we get there is by not holding students accountable. Choices have consequences. In the real world, we all know this. If I don't show up for work on time, I lose my job. If I strike another employee, I get fired and most likely will face some, charges. Our students need to understand, while the stakes are low, that their actions have consequences, even small ones of being tardy consistently. We need a more robust tardy policy. And then there's the bigger issues. We have students that get suspended for a day, maybe two, come back onto campus, there's no restorative conversations. They don't even usually have to apologize, but are expected to be back in that class, and the teacher's expected to take them back into that class. How did that student learn anything from that experience other than, oh, I get in trouble, I get a vacation from school for the day. That's great. We have to hold them to the standard. No parent will take their kid away from us from holding a standard. They will take them away by not holding standards. Thank you.
Thank you. Megan Christensen.
Good evening, governing board members and Superintendent Andrade. My name is Megan Christensen. I am speaking tonight about the academic goals proposed in the Goals and Guardrails document in item 7A of the agenda. As a parent of two current PXU students, one PXU recent graduate, a teacher in the district, and a South Mountain alumna, I applaud your efforts to focus on student growth. However, those goals will never be achieved if you continue to erode our ability to hold students accountable. We need real actionable consequences for attendance and cell phone use in the student code of conduct. There are two ways we empower the school to prison pipeline, as my sister shared. The first is through over-policing of our schools, though I would argue that actually hasn't really been a problem in our district, despite the board's hyper-focus on that in recent years. The second way we empower that is by not holding kids accountable, by not allowing them a space to fail safely, which we are currently not doing. We're allowing them to fail, but they just keep failing. The problem we are having in our schools is we are not preparing them for the real world. We're graduating kids who are not ready to hold jobs, who are not ready to be accountable for the standards they are going to be held to. High school should be a place where kids can learn, because they are still kids. We like to talk about them as adults, but they are not. They do not have fully developed brains. We cannot expect them to always know what is in their best interest. We cannot expect them to know what they need to do to be successful. With that in mind, we need policies on ditching, not on overall attendance. We have policies on overall attendance, on chronic attendance. We need ditchers, kids who are on our campus but will not go to class. We started a new sweep policy this week. It's a great start. It is not enough. We also need a cell phone policy that has direct, actionable consequences for students who are on their cell phones in class. I am a very entertaining teacher, and I cannot compete with TikTok or Instagram. I encourage you, when the proposal comes forward from Code of Conduct Committee, please, please support that cell phone policy with real, actionable consequences. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes tonight's call to the public.
Thank you. Next item is 5A, approval of consent agenda. I'm going to pull item 9A and,
Madam Chair,
yes.
on the last item, real quickly, can we have the superintendent look into the SCI model and get back to us? And then on this item, I was going to ask to pull item 13B.
And can I have
13B. Board Member Meyer.
Can I have more information on what the NCI model entails, just for like my frame of reference? Or I guess I can go to the board.
Okay. All right, 5A. We are pulling 9A and 13B. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda as amended?
Yeah, the consent agenda without those two items.
Yeah, consent agenda without 9A and 13B.
So moved.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as modified has been made by Representative Marquez and seconded by Clerk Oliver. Is there any discussion on the motion? Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we can go and talk about 9A. Can we bring up the school calendars, or is that too much work?
We can do either. We can take 9A now, or if they're working to pull up the calendars, we can go ahead and take 13B while they pull it up. Either way is fine.
Sure.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Representative Marquez, 13B.
Yep, item 13B was just us formally accepting the resignation of Board Member Ross. And before we do that, I just wanted to, whether she's watching or not at home on live stream, I just wanted to publicly say thank you for your service to the board. We came into the board when I joined during the middle of COVID, and you know, we've gotten through this process of hiring a new superintendent, and she provided a lot of leadership for me when I was new. And I think, you know, as a new board member, there's always a little friction of like learning how to do this job and do it well. And I just wanted to thank Board Member Ross for her service on this board and for her service as school board president as well.
Thank you, Representative Marquez.
Can I also speak on that?
Yes, after I do.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Echoing a lot of what Representative Marquez shared, came into this board really new, immediately was put in the clerk position, and it was an honor to see how she modeled what a president should do, and just what an excellent colleague she was. She was always available to talk if I needed to talk, and just offer support and also constructive criticism, which I think is really important. So thank you, Board Member Ross, for your service. Board Member Meyer.
Thank you. Yeah, if she's watching or not, I do want to say thanks to Board Member Ross, because I didn't have much time on the board, but even from the beginning, from like my first meeting, she's always been very welcoming, and she's very much, I feel like she's been like the heart of the board to some extent. Like she's always the one that says thank you after someone speaks. She's always the one that congratulates students personally, like makes a big effort. So I think that really modeled just like how passionate you could be for this job, and like really show gratitude to the people who come to speak and to the students that showcase the work that they're doing. So I really hope to like follow in her footsteps. But she really has been like, in her short time with working with me or me seeing her work, pretty inspiring.
Clerk Oliver.
So I want to just, whether she's listening or not, she feels me. Say to my fellow board member, my former president, my sister who became my friend, thank you for putting up with me for 2.5 years. She walks in such grace and humility. And I watched her for 2 years, a little over 2 years, you know, when we had difficult decisions to make. She was the compassion, she was the voice of reason, and she kept me from doing stupid things. So I just, I'm gonna miss her, but I'm gonna remember the lessons I learned from her. Just walk in grace and be that strong stalwart against anything that is going to harm a student, an administrator, educator, or any staff. She was for you guys. Believe it.
Thank you. Are we ready to move on to 9A?
Now we need a motion to approve that.
Oh, well, we need a motion to approve 13B.
I motion to approve item 13B as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made by Representative Marquez and seconded by Board Member, or Clerk Oliver. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now 9A. Want to talk about the school calendars for the next academic year. It was something I brought up during the fall semester, that Indigenous Peoples Day is not observed. It falls directly after everyone comes back from fall break. Lots of festivities happen, lots of cultural gatherings, and culturally important networking. And I really wish that we were able to either observe Indigenous Peoples Day or figure out how to move the fall break so that way it falls on Indigenous Peoples Day. I'm very well aware how, and this is a lot of years that we're approving, but I'm very well aware of the meticulousness that this process is, not only for our community, but for our partner schools. I just wanted to lift that up. Superintendent Andrade, is there anything you would like to add?
I think we have time to figure it out, and I will be meeting with our partner district superintendents. I'll collect their calendars, we'll put our heads together, and we'll figure this out and bring back some options and proposals to the board. I believe that 2 of the years it made it, and then we just have to fix 3.
Okay.
2 out of 3 is not bad.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Superintendent Andrade, or maybe this is for Dr. Allen. I can't remember, since I've been on the board, approving the school calendar for the next 5 years. Is this normal that we approve it this many calendar years ahead?
President Napa, Member Marquez, that is my understanding. However, we have revisited and made revisions. So usually it goes in a batch of 3 to 5. And Dr. Allen and Ms. Tejas are both nodding, so I'm not imagining that. But it is possible to come back and revise something if something should come up or that we missed something.
Thank you.
With that said, is there a motion to approve 9A? I'm sorry, Lynn.
I was just going to say, if there's a specific calendar year that you want to work on, you could table that and just approve certain years, or you could approve the entirety with the understanding and direct the administration to come back with potential changes, if any.
Thank you. Well, then I move that academic years 28 and academic years 29 be approved, and academic years 27, 30, 31 be tabled. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And
6A.
and just to clarify, you'd like the superintendent to bring that back after she's had an opportunity to discuss. Okay.
Correct. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item 6A, Superintendent's Report. Ms. Andrade.
Right. Well, good evening, governing board and community. Tonight, I want to begin by celebrating something you heard earlier tonight, Multilingual Learners Month. As you know, in Phoenix Union, we believe bilingualism, multilingualism is a superpower, and we have our share of it in Phoenix Union. So much so that we've launched a first-of-its-kind high school dual language program at Carl Hayden. Thank you, Dr. Rubio. We are proud to celebrate our multilingual learners and more than 80 languages spoken across the district. All right, Phoenix Union students cleaned the community during Chavez Day. To celebrate Chavez Day, pretty large group of students from Cesar Chavez, Bioscience, Camelback, Central, and North joined Phoenix Union staff to volunteer with the City of Phoenix to clean the alleyways in our city. The project was put together to provide students with an opportunity to give back to their community in honor of the rich legacy of Cesar Chavez. The students and staff who participated got to receive recognition from Councilwoman Laura Pastor, in addition to appreciation from the broader community. I want to thank you for being incredible representatives from Phoenix Union. Those are our values in action. And I also want to thank the City of Phoenix for their partnership and support for our scholars and community. All right, as you know, we've been working very hard this year to set the stage for the launch of education pathways for our CTE programs. We're excited to share that Alhambra and Trevor Brown will launch these pathways next year. These pathways will hopefully help grow and create more opportunities for future educators and professionals in Phoenix Union. So I want to thank all of those that have put in the hard work to make this dream a reality. I'm excited to visit those classrooms. All right, congratulations. I think she's here tonight, to Irene Diaz, who's been appointed as the consortium lead for the Arizona Regional Consortiums for School Safety Emergency Preparedness, representing Central Arizona. The consortium is sponsored by the Trust and will provide insights and training for a multitude of safety-related topics impacting our public schools. Thank you, Ms. Diaz, for your dedicated service. All right. Recently, the Men's Art Council has commissioned 5 Camelback students to create original art for the prestigious Copper State 1000 event. Congratulations to Isaac Gonzalez, Leslie Silvar, Alice Ishii, Anthony Hernandez, and Yael Robles. Each will receive at least $200 for their artwork, with the possibility of earning $500 if they win first place. Congratulations, Camelback, and good luck. All right. I want to recognize and congratulate Metro Tech teacher, Miss Lauren Stannis, who received the Bill Evans Excellence in Teaching Award from the Arizona Dance Education Organization, our second rock star dance teacher tonight. Her passion inspires students to reach their full potential while expressing themselves in art. Thank you for all you do for our Phoenix Union students, Ms. Stannis. Next up, I want to give kudos to Jorge Ambris, a Wilson Prep math teacher who served as the Albert Einstein Distinguished Educator Fellow with the Department of Energy and Congressman Raul Gravala. Over the past year, Mr. Ambris has represented Phoenix Union at the national level. The goal of this program is to provide outstanding STEM educators with the opportunity to bring their insights, knowledge, and their best practices to the legislative and executive branches to help influence the federal education program. Congratulations, Mr. Ambris. Last month, yeah, give it up. Last month, our incredible culinary students from Central High School volunteered at the Panda Gala in Scottsdale. Well, no, this isn't anything to do with the zoo. I was a little thrown off. PANDA actually stands for Pediatric Autoimmune Neuropsychiatric Disorders Association. And they focus on streptococcal infections. So at this event, the Bobcat culinary students prepped and served meals to all the guests while volunteering to help those in need. Very proud of you. Thank you, Bobcats. All right, also proud tonight to recognize Dr. Timothy Gooding and the Desiderata staff for being honored by the National Alliance for Mental Illness with a Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition. A testament to their unwavering support in building a community of hope. The award was received for Desi's advocacy and steadfast dedication to building strong support systems for students, some of our most vulnerable students. Great work, Dr. Gooding and Desiderata. Thank you. Next, I want to celebrate Trevor Brown student Aaron Moreno, who qualified for the National HOSA Veterinary Science, which is a pretty remarkable accomplishment. He not only aced his comprehensive online test in January, but he also secured the top spot in the state of Arizona for this category. There he is, right there. During the competition, Aaron performed a cephalic venipuncture on a dog. Okay, and if you're wondering what that means, it's a fancy way of saying that he was able to take a blood sample without getting bit. All right, congratulations to Aaron. We're rooting for you at Nationals, and we're gonna follow your story. All right, last month we highlighted a few of our Phoenix Union scholars getting ready for graduation, and we're gonna bring back a few more success stories each month for the class of 2025. So let's start with Yaritza Braceda Pena at Alhambra. She is headed to ASU next year to pursue an immigration law. She wants to become a lawyer who helps families in need in our community. Next, I want to highlight Kaylee Pasesa from Arch, who wants to earn her bachelor's in secondary education with the hope of becoming a high school English teacher. She said, quote, "Honestly, I've wanted to be a teacher since I was a child. I can't think of anything else that I've ever wanted." We can't wait for you to return and teach with us, Kaylee, so somebody get her name and number. Next is Nathan Garcia Lopez from Franklin. It's a sad one. He tragically lost his mom to cancer in October. And in the face of unimaginable loss, Nathan is committed to becoming a medical researcher after high school and finding a cure for cancer once and for all so no one has to experience what he and his family went through. Nathan, good luck to you. He is headed to be a Sun Devil in the fall. Connor Jung is an IB student at North High School who will attend Johns Hopkins University to study molecular and cellular biology. With the goal of becoming a medical doctor as well, he is a National Merit Scholar, which will help him achieve that goal. Our final class of 2025 celebration this evening is Clemente Pillan Burgos, who made history as our first known $1 million scholar. Clemente will attend Washington University in St. Louis to study a career in human resources. You all might want to get his number as well. These are only a few of our over 5,000 unique, talented, and incredible stories from our class of 2025, the future of Phoenix. I want to give a shout out. That's right. We're just beginning the celebrations. We've got 2 more months of this. I want to give a shout out to our MetroTech Pharmacy CTE seniors. Pilar Agrodano earned first place at the State Leadership Conference. Giselle Rivas earned 3rd place at the same conference. Dolores Franco earned 9th place in pharmacology. Pilar and Giselle will represent Phoenix Union at the HOSA International Leadership Conference in Nashville this June. We're rooting for you both. Phoenix Union is proud to announce our students are earning the Seal of Civic Literacy. Special shout outs to the PXU City with 9 students earning this, Maryville with 4, and TGB with 1. The seal recognizes high school students who demonstrate a high level of proficiency in civics by going above and beyond the civics test requirement. Congratulations, Phoenix Union seniors. Next, I want to celebrate our exceptional student services department. As you can see from the photo, we had a packed house for our parents and ESS families with students turning 18, making sure they're ready for adult services and independence. The experience included information about the services and the next steps that families need to take once their child reaches 18 or older. Thank you for your amazing ESS department for making this happen. Just rounding out, as you know, board, we continue to meet with an outstanding group of students who make up the Superintendent's Advisory Council. This month, they dove into the governing board agenda once again. They asked such great questions about our systems, and they question our systems. And we have to sometimes think about those answers. Why do we do that? They really, this time we gave them some homework to really start to grapple and have conversation, read different articles with different perspectives around cell phone use in the classroom. Is it a total ban? Is it a classroom-only ban? What do you think would work? And I'm looking forward to bringing that feedback back to the board, at least from that stakeholder group, and creating a system for this group to really present to the board directly in the future. All right, I'm happy to share the Governing Board Advisory Committee is underway, meeting on March 27th for the first time. Thank you to the Executive Director, Adrian D'Alba, and Manny Silvas for facilitating that group. They'll meet again on April 11th and then again on April 23rd to continue this important work. I think they're doubling up so they don't have to come in when it's like 200 degrees in July. Okay. The public is welcome to attend in person or watch virtually. The meetings take place from 4:30 to 6:30. Thank you again to all those who serve on that committee. And last, as we enter April, most of the educators know we're entering testing season. Comes with the April showers. So the board goals and guardrails are being developed, and we'll look deeper at the data that we actually will receive from these tests, whether it's NWEA, AP, and IB testing that begins this month, along with the statewide ACT and ACT Aspire. We know the heavy lift and even sometimes the stress that it puts on our staff and our students, but they've done their part as teachers to prepare our students, and we wish our learners good luck as they enter testing season. Deep breath. It's going to all be okay. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Andrade. We are now going to 7A, Student Outcomes Focused Governance with Potential Action. And this is all me. So we're going to talk today about goals and guardrails, community outreach and engagement, board expectations from that item, and what's next. We have been working on board goals. This started last year as I would say like a pilot, and then continuing this year to really dig in and make sure that we are, that our goals are valid, and also do the data work, which I believe we were missing when we were working on this with the, at the January board retreat. So with the first one, and then I also wanted to mention that these have also been vetted, right, through various groups on our campuses and at district office. Read off the first one: percentage of students in the graduating cohort each year who have a score 10 or more points based on college and career readiness indicators will increase from 90% for 2024 to 95% for the 2029 cohort. And you see a breakdown below that going from 90 to 91 in May 2025, increasing by a percentage point all the way to May 2029 of 94 to 95. Second one is percentage of English learners who reclassify by demonstrating proficiency in the state AZELA test will increase from 15% in July 2024 to 25% by July 2029. And then you can see down below incremental increases 2% all the way through academic year 28-29. Next slide, please. Number 3, the percentage of students demonstrating proficiency as measured by the ACT math standards by receiving a score of 19 or higher will increase from 12% in 2024 to 20% by 2029. And again, you can see those incremental changes by academic year. Next. And number 4, the percentage of students demonstrating proficiency as measured by the ACT reading standards by receiving a score of 19 or higher will increase from 22% in 2024 to 30% by 2029. And you can see the progress and milestones that we want to hit every year. And that last part, the drafts originally shared included exceptional student services and ELL students who were tested as part of the cohort. General question: could they be tracked through all student group data in goals and not to be called out separately? Yeah, those are our board goals. And do we have anyone who can answer that question?
Ms. Tejas, I know that a lot of these questions and feedback came from your team, so do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, President Napa, Ms. Andrade, board members. And so I think the question is whether we feel as an organization we need to look at different groups of students individually, or whether we're okay looking at them excelling through the lens of all students. So it's a question for the board, just because we know that that's been a conversation as to whether that's a direction we want to go, and whether that's something that we would like to receive some feedback from the community as you're going out and conducting listening sessions.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have anything to add or questions about our board goals?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Well, I guess the question is, maybe it's a process question, are we voting to approve these goals tonight, or sounds like, we're planning some listening sessions to take the goals to the community next?
As I believe we are, it's proposed action today. I'm sorry, potential action.
Correct. I think the goals have been approved. They've been vetted somewhat with the community, but this is just one more round of the process of getting community input. In other words, we want board to go out and ask, like, are we still here? Has anything changed? And if so, what? And let's hear that and bring it back. But right now, I think they're kind of set for the most part, unless you hear differently from your communities.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, just one
Yes.
additional comment. I know with student outcomes focused governance, I think I remember when AJ presented, there was, 3 to 5 years was the recommendation. And I know we're looking at 5-year goals. I would feel more comfortable approving and moving, from a frame of reference of the approving goals through the 2026-2027 school year. And the way I think about that is, for the ward members that get elected, that would get us through the next opportunity where we might have new board members. I don't necessarily feel comfortable approving goals that are, run beyond the majority of us that could potentially be here as future board members.
Good point. Any other discussion on that?
I have just a question. Even though these are approved, even if we get new board members, they could revise them at any time.
Yes, that is correct. Do you have a motion?
This is not on the agenda, I don't believe. The goals have already been approved. I think it was just on the agenda for a discussion today.
What's the potential action?
Does
that
it say
we're-
potential action? I'm sorry.
It says action.
Oh, there we go, potential action, yes,
Oh, on
indeed.
the agenda,
I'm so
I have
sorry.
it says action.
I am so sorry.
No, I hear, Madam President, I hear Board Member Oliver's point, future board could change the goals. I think even, even if when these are approved, I think I still have the same concerns that we're sort of going beyond, I think even the way they're proposed from 28, 29, the two at-large members, this would sort of go into the 1 year after that next election. So I guess I will make a motion that we modify our goals to approve them through the 26, 27 cohort.
Motion made by Representative Marquez. Is there a second?
Could I have more clarification? Can you restate what you said about, like, I guess the timeline, like 4 years versus like approving through 2027?
Madam Chair, discussion, is that where we're at? Are we coming back to discussion? Okay. Well, so the point of the motion would be if we approve the goals for just the next 3 years from the 26 through 27 school year, that would allow the next set of ward elections to take place so that we have 5 board members that come in, whether it's the same 5 of you that currently represent the wards or new board members, to get us through that school year as soon as they take their seats in January through May, and then gives the board at that time an opportunity to re-engage and say, do we want to continue these goals for, and I would say we always sort of stick with 4-year goals instead of a 5-year goal at that point, so that every time there's a majority of new board members made up by the ward members, that we say, okay, we're gonna look at the goals again and decide, during that next year, what are we gonna approve, continue down the same path of goals for the next 4 years, or are we gonna change anything that, whatever we decide today, these current goals, if new people get elected, then give them the opportunity to say, are your goals working or not, and give us the 6 of us that are here today an opportunity to say 3 years from now, is there anything that we want to change before committing fully to 5-year goals?
Mr. Cinto, do you have something to add?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Board. As you'll notice in the Student Outcomes Focused Governance Manual, the framework, which is aligned with the research, you will lose points on when you do a self-evaluation if you don't do 5-year goals. The plus here is that you're setting goalposts for the superintendent, and so whether you're on the board or not, you can make adjustments. New board members can make adjustments. But if you remember the analogy of the Uber, of whenever you order an Uber, you telling it where you want to go, this is what you're doing by proposing this. The other part is I would not recommend approving these tonight, because you're also going to notice in the Student Outcomes Focus Manual that you're going to want community ownership. And this will give you a chance to have these conversations with your community, students, teachers, stakeholders. This will begin the education process of how the board is supposed to function and the role of the board. And so those are the 2 things I wanted to uplift for you. Because if you do this and then you do a self-evaluation, you're going to see pretty much immediately you're going to limit yourselves on what the best practices are for functioning boards. Is that helpful?
So your insight is 5 years is preferred over 3?
Yes, according to the research that we work with, yes, because even if you see your annual targets that you have there, you want to give the goalpost, and you want to allow the superintendent and the leadership team to start putting systems and processes in place, and that's going to take time. And so, as you notice here, the going from 22 to 23%, but even like on 27 to 28 year, they're talking about 26 to 28. That means that they're putting their systems in place to be able to pick up momentum. And so that's really what you want to do as a board, is you want to say, take us here. How you get us there is going to be what you're going to be monitoring during your school board meetings.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Board Member Meyer, does that clarify?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So we have a motion, but we don't have a second.
Is there a second?
I can withdraw my motion. I have a question for Cinto.
Okay.
Cinto, Dr. Ramos, just to clarify, what I heard was that you recommend that we not approve goals tonight. And I, just for clarity, we had a school board retreat. You did some work with the superintendent and the board president, and now it's presented in this format here. And then, according to the student outcomes focused governance model, the goals have not necessarily been approved at this point. They're sort of in a draft state, and now we go out to the community to solicit feedback on the goals. Is that accurate?
That's accurate, yes.
Okay.
Because you're going to notice in the manual, it's going to ask you, do you have broad community ownership? Yeah. So has the community, have your students, have they begin to buy into this? This is going to be a radically different approach to how the board functions when it comes to engaging your community. So this is just the beginning. You're going to likely go out to your community at least 2 to 3 times a year. And so the conversation you're going to have is you're going to have outreach and you're going to have engagement. The best thing that you're going to be able to do is educate your community about the conversation we had about inputs, outputs, and outcomes. You typically get approached about inputs a great deal. You're going to begin to educate your community at large that your role as the board is to focus on the outcomes. And so during your board meetings, you're going to be monitoring the inputs and the outputs, but staying focused on the outcomes. And so your community is going to learn that in this process, and you as board members are going to educate them throughout that journey. And so you'll notice that they'll want to talk about academic achievement, but they're likely going to want to talk to you about the guardrails, which I believe President Napa is going to talk to you about as well.
President Napa, Dr. Ramos, Member Marquez, I just want to remind everyone that we started this journey at the beginning of the school year with the help of Ben Clavin, and we kind of came up with something on paper, and we took it out to our community and several stakeholder groups, and that feedback informed us that we were kind of missing the mark a little here. We're not paying enough attention to English language learners, less about this, more about that, and we adapted those. Again, they were approved on, I want to say, October 3rd in draft, right? Knowing that it's a journey, knowing that nothing was concrete, but we started that lift, and I know board, you were present for it, for some of them anyway, the community engagement. And we responded to that. Now we're picking it back up again and going a little bit deeper into the community to see, has anything changed with these goals? And are these the guardrails we can live with, right, to accomplish these goals?
Yeah, Madam President, Superintendent Andrade, Dr. Ramos. So I think when we approved the goals after working with Mr. Cleben, those were for one academic year. And this is the first time that we've seen a proposal for 5-year goals. Is that accurate?
That could very well be. I'm focused on the goal and not the end year. So I'd have to go back and check the agenda from the 3rd, but you could be correct, yeah.
And President Napa, Dr. Ramos. As this is listed for potential action, is there potential action that you're sort of coaching us to consider taking tonight?
No particular action other than to prepare to engage your community and do outreach.
Got it. Thank you.
That's the main focus. Now that you have drafted goals and guardrails, which in essence is your biggest role, right? Your vision is your goals, your student outcome goals. And then your values are going to be your guardrails. And so those conversations we had at the retreat is what you're now going to go out to the community and you're going to vet them. You're going to ask them, did we hit the mark or not? Is there something we're missing? And that's how you begin to not only educate, but also get community buy-in and support. You'll notice as you go through the manual, all of this begins and ends with community being fully embedded throughout this entire process.
President Napa, while we're on this agenda item, are we going through the next part of the presentation on guardrails?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Mr. Cinto, I know you've been talking a lot, but can we go to the next slide, guardrails? As I understand it, their guardrails and goals go hand in hand, basically to keep the board in their lane and the superintendent and her team in their lane while working on these goals. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so guardrails, think of these as non-negotiables. What do you as a board no longer want to have to deal with? What are recurrent themes that you hear? And also this allows you to have a pathway to the whole child. So student outcomes is strictly on academic goals. And I know from watching your meetings, you have a lot of other topics that come up and you have themes that have arisen. And so when we did the workshop, you identified some non-negotiables that you're saying, hey, superintendent, we don't want this to be an issue anymore. Please go handle it. She's going to come back to you. She and her team are going to come back with 1 to 3 measurables on how they plan to address this and relieve the pressure and really just address it completely. And so these could last to 3 years. These don't have to last 5 years. The goal here is that the pain points get addressed. And so here's where you all had conversations about what are you hearing from your community. And so we've written these up for you, and these are not final from my end. So the other, I think, maybe potential action was if you want to look at the wording and language that you don't think fits your Phoenix community, then you're going to have those opportunities to change the language on them. But again, these are probably going to be the areas that the community is going to really want to talk to you about. These are going to be the hot topics. Is that helpful with the guardrails? Yes.
Thank you for explaining that. Your context helped me understand more about next steps forward.
You got it. You're welcome.
Anyone else have questions or items to discuss? Okay. So these guardrails came from our discussion from the January board retreat, where we actually dug down a little deep with the goals. I'm going to read them off, and these were in your packet. Academics: the superintendent shall not permit students to graduate without completing the minimum course of study as presented by state statute, the Arizona Department of Education and board policy. Number 2, the superintendent shall not fail to address leadership and staff that negatively impact a school's performance and will consider the school's performance levels when making assignments of campus administrative teams and staff with a focus on those leaders and staff with a track records of proven outcomes for students being considered to lead schools with the most need to increase performance levels. Or the superintendent shall not assign those principals and staff without reviewing evidence of their contributions to proven outcomes to schools without consideration of the school's data and identified challenges to improving improving performance levels. Next slide. Vulnerable students. The superintendent shall not neglect to provide additional resources and support for vulnerable students, including those in English language learner and exceptional student services programs and students identified as being in transition. Next one is safety. The superintendent shall not compromise on the safety of student staff nor compromise on implementing and maintaining comprehensive, multifaceted safety measures, protocols, and practices to ensure a secure environment for all students and staff. And number 2, the superintendent shall not, in accordance with PXU policies, allow for school resource officers to enforce immigration policies on school grounds. Next slide. Teacher support, retention, and well-being. The superintendent shall not overlook the necessity of providing adequate support and resources to staff members to enhance their effectiveness and personal well-being. The superintendent shall not make decisions that undermine teacher retention or fail to promote diverse representation among teaching staff. And student engagement and discipline. The superintendent shall not ignore the importance of fostering student engagement in the classroom by addressing distractions as excessive phone use, such as excessive phone use. The superintendent shall not implement punitive policies with the district that prevent students from access to an education through alternative means. And 3, the superintendent shall not allow a lack of support or policies that prevent staff from effectively managing and disciplining students in a fair and consistent manner with approved policies. Next slide. And lastly, student attendance, retention, and enrollment. The superintendent shall not implement policies that negatively impact student attendance, retention, or enrollment without a comprehensive review and stakeholder consultation. Next is the superintendent shall not allow the rate of chronic absenteeism to exceed 35%, which is national average over a period of 5 years. And number 3, the superintendent shall not allow the campus or district level to be reported to the Arizona Department of Education for funding or school accountability purposes to be inaccurate. And I believe these are the things that we want to take out to community. These were the things that we discussed. These are guardrails, and ideally, we would take all of these guardrails and pare them down to no more than 5. I think that was Cinto's advice. So between us, the board, and the work that we're going to do in the community, we're going to want to capture that feedback and determine which guardrails feel appropriate for our school district. Can we go, are there any questions?
Madam President?
Yes.
On the first guardrail slide, academics, can we go back to that slide? So I believe academics, line 1, the superintendent shall not permit students to graduate with complete and minimum course of study as prescribed by state statute in the Arizona Department of Education and board policy. I think that this actually came from Board Member Ross, and I don't think it's worded correctly, but maybe maybe one of the chiefs can help here. I believe the intent here was, I think it's the Board of Regents requirements that allow students to get acceptance into any of our universities was the intent.
So, yeah, I think she was talking about the acceptance into a four-year university. And the truth is, we really, I don't know that we can prevent students from graduating that haven't met the Board of Regents, like the language, foreign language requirement, et cetera. However, I think she wanted to see us reach a place where we made that a graduation requirement, which would be a very interesting 2-year journey if that's where we went. So I think that the majority of our students do meet the graduation Board of Regents. They may have a deficiency or so, but it's not going to prevent them from getting into an ASU or a U of A. They can be accepted with up to so many deficiencies. So I think that's one that you probably want to get the community's feedback on, because it could be harmful just as much as it is a very high standard. It may not be the standard for every child to want to go to a four-year university.
Thank you. Any other questions, discussion? Oh, go ahead.
President Napa, Ms. Andrade, thank you for the opportunity. Just a reminder, board, as well, many of our students choose a community college path, and so that's their pathway to get to the university or college degree. And so to Ms. Andrade's point, there's multiple ways that we can get there, and to impose an additional requirement, I just think it's important for us to consider community feedback around that.
Thank you. Board Member Meyer.
I would like to request a revision of academics number 2, only because it's a run-on sentence. And I think it lacks clarity to some extent, and I think my English teachers would really want me to bring that up. Is that okay? At least number 2, I just feel like the wording is a little confusing. But I like how the or statement is phrased. So I was wondering, like, shortening that. Does that make sense?
Yes, we could swap it with the or, as Superintendent Andrade mentioned. But also, I think this is something that we can work on at the board retreat in order to wordsmith or create more clarity on, definitely.
Okay, that works for me. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Madam President?
Yes.
Just on number 1 again, Superintendent Andrade, I think the way I read number 1, it seems like we're already required to do this within state law. So I think if either we just strike it and, maybe these next 2 are the 2 guardrails around academics, or if we do want to honor sort of the intent of Board Member Ross, like, is it a goal, or do we just put it up there and take it out to the community and see if the community wants us to reach that higher standard of the aid board graduation requirements? But it seems like if this is already state law, then we don't need this as a guardrail.
I think the good news is we have probably more guardrails than we need so that the community sees a lot of representation in them. But that is one, I think, that at the retreat we can just kind of maybe even just take out, since it is an assumed students will not graduate without meeting the minimum state standard. So thank you for that. I do have and it could be semantics, and I don't know why I did not catch it before, but there's 2 areas where the word policy comes up, and I just want to be clear. One is in number 5 within the discipline section. It's the student engagement and discipline section, number 5. The second place, if we jump down just a little bit to student attendance, which comes next, and retention, number 1. Both speak to these policies that I will not allow a lack of policy. I don't get to create policy. That's not my job. So sometimes we use policies, the word policy loosely, like, say to a teacher, what's your policy in your classroom? Really, probably what you mean is what's your procedure, what's your cadence in this room. Actual policy, if, maybe I'm being programmed here, but that's set by the board on 2 reads. So a lack of policy would not necessarily be something I could fix. I could continue to bring it to you, but you're the ones that adopt it. And so, again, with attendance, you heard from members tonight about wanting stricter code of conduct, wanted more policies, et cetera. Those are policies that the board brings. So maybe it's just wordsmithing it at the retreat, but I just want to make sure that we're clear on what we really mean when we say that.
Thank you.
Madam President, Superintendent Andrade, maybe this is for Cinta. I think within outcomes-focused governance, regulations can be prescribed by the superintendent. And so maybe regulation is the right word, and I don't know if Cinta wants to correct me on that. Because we have regulations that are different than board policy.
And maybe we just change that to operational procedures, which is how we implement the policies, and just call it what it is.
Anyone else? Thank you for that feedback. Can we go to slide number, I believe it's 11? Oh, I'm sorry, 10. Okay, so there are a lot of questions and notes that came with this document, and I just want to put them up on this board so that way we are aware of the questions and the notes, and to take these bullet points with us into the further discussion during the board retreat on April 18th. With that said, does anyone have any questions or need clarity on those questions and notes? No? Okay.
There, and then the next slide is more question and notes, and then to the next slide, board work, community engagement, and outreach. So defining these a little bit clearer, engagement and outreach to me kind of are synonyms, but in this context, we are very much defining them in this way. So community engagement, two-way communication between the board and community members that focus on community's vision and values that occurs at a meeting hosted by the board. Engagement equals board engaging the community at large. And community outreach, two-way communication between the board and community members that focuses on community's vision and values that occurs at a meeting hosted by community members. Outreach is equivalent to board going to a particular meeting or group. Next slide. And some board expectations and some examples. To be very clear, we're going to be doing this work. We're going to be managing these sessions with someone with us. No board member is going to go out alone. And the homework that was given to you for tonight is to come with some ideas of who you want to engage and what sessions you actually want to host. And then just some examples. SACE's engagement target, award for centralized location, maybe hosting a West Side location at Alhambra. Those are just some examples. Outreach target for myself will definitely be the PXU Native American students and parents and guardians at the next PXU NAPE meeting. Again, board members will set up these community sessions, so you're going to have to work on making sure that your contact knows that you want to do this, or that your contact knows that you want to get on the agenda of their next meeting, or maybe even hold a special engagement specifically for this. Board members will set up community sessions, connect with community engagement contacts, set up meeting, location, date, time, etc. And board members will receive support from PXU, meaning that they can, like if you're going to host it at a high school, they can actually help with that versus them reaching out for us to make these engagement sessions, or I should say these community sessions happen. And like I said before, these will always be done in pairs, conducting engagement and outreach sessions. No board member will conduct meetings alone. Any questions on this slide? Pretty clear? Yay. Next slide. So assignment number 1, community engagement. Y'all had that Excel spreadsheet, and if you're ready, we can capture that for your engagement and for your community outreach. I will go first. I definitely want to do a PXU award listening session at Alhambra High School. And potentially, if time permitting, I don't want to fully commit myself because this is a lot. PXU award for listening session for our more centralized schools. I would hope to do that at Metro Tech. Does anyone else want to provide? Is anyone else ready? I think I saw Clerk Oliver. Yeah. So this is engagement.
Yeah, for engagement. And this is not because it's close to my house, okay? That's why. A community engagement at South Mountain.
Okay.
Academies at South Mountain. It's close to my house.
So a Ward
5.
You're 2, right?
I'm 2. I'm sorry.
You're 2.
Ward
Yeah.
2.
Ward 2 listening session at
The academies at South Mountain.
Anyone else ready to provide? Board Member Cross? Mike?
I would like to have community engagement at both Central and Camelback.
Thank you so much. Anyone else ready? Board Member Meyer?
I would like to involve Maryville, specifically since some of our goals are touching on the exceptional students. So definitely targeted I guess, advertisement to that community.
Okay. Anyone else ready?
I'll say Cesar, Chavez, and Fairfax, but at the same time, I also want to see with our alternative schools as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
I said, but also some type of event, whether it be one large one.
You have to speak into the mic.
Oh, sorry. I said Cesar, Chavez, or Fairfax,
Okay.
or one large one with all of our alternative schools as well.
I did have one question that I only recently thought of with the Phoenix Union Digital Academy. I guess I wanted more explanation. We could talk about this more in the board retreat, but something I was wondering is like how to engage that digital community since they don't have like a physical campus that we can really.
They have a campus.
Oh, they do? Okay, so then we're good then. I think I'll sit on this. I'll reach out.
And they're in my ward.
Oh.
So they're more than welcome to stretch their legs at Alhambra and potentially Metro Tech.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. And anyone else have? Representative Marquez?
Madam President, I'll just, as an at-large board member, say invite me to all of them, and I'll attend to which ones I can attend.
Okay, thank you so much. To be determined. And then I think that's all of us, right? Yeah, that is all of us. At the board retreat, we can also dig down a little deeper on possible meeting dates and times, getting the actual locations or, you know, where you want to have or who you want to engage and on what campus I think is more important.
And then, Madam Chair, just to be clear, like, there has to be 2 members at each of these engagements, so me and Frankie will be going to all the other meetings at in each of your wards.
Absolutely. Yeah. I could go
He's
to
not the
all
boss
them.
of you. You don't have to do
I could
whatever
go
he
to
says.
all
You do
awards. I
know-
could go to all awards. No biggie.
And I was hoping Board Member Meyer would accompany me and I could accompany her, which leaves Clerk Oliver and Board Member Cross.
I would actually like to as well work with Cross.
Okay.
She and I together.
So you want to go out with that,
Everybody?
that's adding more to your schedule.
Said he can go to all of them.
I guess
He's
I
at
guess
large,
The
he
point
should.
was that not being Frankie, to split me and Frankie up and then send us to each of the wards.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thank you.
So, Madam
Yes.
Chair, I want to go to one, either Bioscience or Wilson, but I don't know if that's conducive to the community engagement because of their locations, but add North High to Ward 2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we also going to look at, other, I guess, community organizations? I guess I'm wondering, like.
That's the next slide
Oh,
for
okay,
community
okay.
outreach. Yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Anyone else want to list a PXU hosting session or listening session? All right, moving forward. Next slide, please. So assignment 2 is community outreach with your recommendations for meetings hosted by the community members that the board will join. I've already named mine as PXU parents and students at the next NAEP meeting. My point of contact for that will be Kelsey Franklin. And I do want to engage PXU ADA, joining one of their meetings, if they will allow. And that point of contact will be Mr. John Doherty. Does anyone else have their community outreach ready? It does take a bit of brain power.
Madam Chair, I don't know if Esteban's still here, but I'd like to do one specifically with CTA membership.
Esteban? Esto?
President Naba? I
yes.
would also like to be involved with the CTA, any of the associations.
I think we're all able to attend these sessions. It's actually who's facilitating, who's going to be there facilitating with them. And Yeah, and only 3. We don't want to break quorum. I would advise that maybe, since CTA is already covered, do you have a other community group that you would want to engage?
I think a great community organization, because they have a large student base within our district, would be immigration rights group Aliento, if we're familiar with Aliento's work.
Thank you. And who's that point of contact?
I can reach out to one of their leaderships, Jose Patiño. I have yet to reach out to him, but I can do that right now. So.
Okay. Anyone else have their community outreach? Okay. Yes.
If anyone has any suggestions for me, I'm open to that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, then, moving on, and I would just say, but before we move on, please be thinking about this and get those to Mr. Jorge via email or bring them to the board retreat.
Member Cross, I would suggest maybe a conversation at the retreat around the business community and the business leaders with your background. They certainly have a vested interest in as stakeholders in our community.
That's an excellent suggestion. We are developing the workforce. I'm sorry, go ahead, Board Member Cross.
Are you looking at something like the Chamber of Commerce?
Absolutely, it could be the Greater Phoenix Chamber.
We also
There's
have the
others.
Latino Chamber of Commerce as well.
Yep. There's other chambers as well across. Yep. And Member Meyer.
Yes, Board Member Meyer.
Could I request contact information for parent groups at Trevor Brown and Maryville? I have been unsuccessful in reaching Trevor Brown's on my own.
Thank you so much. Are you wanting to reach out to those parent groups, like get a list?
I just have one contact for Trevor Brown, but I haven't been able to get a hold of them.
Okay.
So if you guys can directly put me in contact, maybe CC me in an email, that would be helpful.
But you want to meet with that parent group for your outreach?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I don't know if it's under engagement or outreach, but I think some sort of meeting with students specifically, or the advisory council.
Yep.
Yeah. So if that could happen like on a Friday during the school day, I
We typically come together the Friday before the board meeting, just to
Okay.
kind of
yeah.
prep them. And so that is usually, I want to say, on or around lunch or early afternoon, depending on the month.
But
So
yeah, so
it's
I
once a
mean,
month. Yep,
I would like to hear directly from students,
perfect.
so.
And I'm going to list Superintendent Andrade as your point of
And there's
contact.
also Stugo, and there's other students if others want to.
Yes. Okay. All right. Those who did not provide their outreach focus, again, please think about it or even email it to Mr. Jorge. All right, next slide. Next steps. So we're meeting again at the board retreat. This is the time where we will further dig into this process. Specifically, I am hoping to figure out a timeline for this work. I'm a visual person, and it is really crucial for me to envision this and actually be able to see it. This will also help us, determine when and where we actually need to meet those milestones in order for our PXU superintendent and her team to start working on the implementation. We are going to work on a script for community engagement and outreach sessions. Those scripts will be available to everyone or to the school boards. We need to determine what that language will be, and then update on your work for community sessions. If you have other insights, if you want to engage other groups or high schools, definitely make sure that you come prepared. Next slide. I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
On the 18th, I'd also like to, as we look at the script of what you're going to be talking about live with your community, we'll probably want to pull out what types of questions are very similar, but that can be answered on a QR code for those that can't get to these community meetings, right? So we have a collective, aligned sense of feedback, and it's never going to be the exact same as the in-person, but can we get some feedback from teachers that want to participate but that are busy with families or other obligations or second jobs, so, but they have a valuable voice that can be heard.
And to clarify, you want to create a survey and create those questions in order to go out and to get that feedback from the larger community.
Correct, and I think it needs to mirror what the script, not exactly, but mirror very closely the script of what you're all doing in the community so that we're gathering the same feedback.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Before we move on, any other questions or discussion? Okay. Next item. 11I, resolution to call for special district additional assistance for override elections, and a resolution to call for a maintenance and operation budget override election. Ms. Andrade.
Okay, last month we showed you the results from our climate survey, which really showed strong support from our community of voters. And with that, we are recommending that the board call a district additional assistance override election at 10% and 10% of the revenue control limit, and an M&O override election at 15% of the revenue control limit for the November 4th, 2025 ballot election. Also, I think it's important that I am directed to submit the arguments both for and against the override authority, giving the authority the printing of the ballots and the canvassing for the election to the superintendent with the county. That is our recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion has been made by Representative Marquez, seconded by Clerk Oliver. Is there any discussion? Okay. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item is 11J, review and acceptance of the fiscal year 2023-24 annual financial audit. And Dr. De Alba.
Thank you.
Oh, there you are. Oh, and
I disappeared.
and congratulations on your PhD.
Thank you. President Napa, Clerk Oliver, Governing Board members, Superintendent Andrade, and community members. The purpose of this presentation is to provide an overview of the Phoenix Union High School District Yearly Audit and Single Audit Report. Can I get the next slide, please? To begin, I will describe the purpose of the financial audits, their components, and the findings for fiscal year 2024. In Arizona, school districts with large budgets like Phoenix Union are required to have a yearly audit. The purpose of the yearly audit is to check the financial statements and make sure that the district is spending money appropriately and in accordance with state and federal law. Through this process, auditors check the district's financial statements to make sure that money is reported correctly, legally, minimizing the opportunity for fraud, and look for mistakes in reporting. Auditors suggest ways to improve financial reporting and work together with the district to create plans, called corrective action plans, to fix any issues. The yearly audit consists of 4 main components. First is the financial statement review to check if money is tracked correctly. Second is a compliance check to make sure the district is following state, federal, and local laws on handling funds. Third, they analyze internal controls to test how well the district protects money from mistakes or fraud. And for districts that spend more than $750,000 in federal funds, like Phoenix Union, they also do what's called a single audit to make sure that money is used and follows federal rules. The audit process ensures that schools are accountable, transparent, and trustworthy with money, and it's used where it is needed most for student learning. The compliance questionnaire is a checklist to ensure that school districts follow state laws and funding rules. The questionnaire asks questions about processes such as budget, payroll, student attendance records, and internal controls. Next slide. That's not working. The single audit is a special review for school districts that spend over $750,000 in federal funds. The single audit checks whether the district spent federal funds correctly and legally. Auditors check financial records, spending records, and program rules to make sure the district follows federal guidelines and has systems to minimize fraud and mistakes. Sorry, I didn't know that I had to turn it on. Next, I will provide the school district's audit requirements. The school district must have an independent CPA conduct its yearly audits and submit them to the Auditor General each year by March 31st. The school district is required to create corrective action plans for findings and fix findings within 1 year. According to ARS 15-914, governing boards are required to accept district audits publicly and use a roll call vote. This year, the compliance questionnaire, the district had 16 comments out of 169 question reviews, which is really exceptional. Comments are more like suggestions, or this is stuff that we need to improve on. All 16 comments have corrective action plans and are in the process of being remediated. This audit is considered a great one because it has fewer than 10% comments, which is impressive considering the size of our school district and the number of transactions we have. Over 400,000 transactions a year is what finance office handles. This annual audit demonstrates that our financial processes and statements are accurately represented and compliant with local, state, and federal law. For the single audit, the district had 3 significant deficiencies. Don't let significant deficiencies scare you. Despite the title, significant deficiencies, these findings are considered mid-level and not the highest type of finding, which are known as material findings. Corrective action plans for each finding have been created and submitted with the audit package to the Auditor General. 2 of the 3 findings were related to the talent audit requested by the board after the superintendent search revealed that the community expressed concerns about nepotism and cronyism. The resulting findings were related to this audit. One of these findings involved association work and pay, which was not directly related to district business, and overdue invoices for association president salaries paid for by the district. We've been working closely with association leadership to collect all payments for overdue salary invoices. We've collaborated with both associations and are actively working to get these. Corrective action plans are currently being implemented by the Talent Division. The Talent Division will also be collaborating with experts in the field to ensure timely and effective implementation of these corrective action plans. The 3rd finding in the single audit was related to compliance with federal awards. In this case, the finding resulted from an end user using the quick approval option that skipped other approvers. This is not a common practice in the district, but was an unintended user error. This finding was promptly remediated by eliminating the quick approval option and implementing yearly quality control checkpoints to ensure that end users have appropriate access levels. This finding did not warrant a return of federal funds or penalties to the Arizona Department of Education and has basically been taken care of. It is worth noting that this year's audit provided an unmodified opinion, which again sounds bad, but is actually not. It's actually the highest possible opinion an auditor can give regarding financial statements. Based on auditor's opinion, they have confidence in the accuracy of our financial statements and processes and do not recommend any adjustments. So thank you to our wonderful finance team who has worked diligently to ensure this. To ensure the quality of our talent processes, the district has committed to improving its internal controls by conducting a regular annual audit of the talent division. To ensure system improvement, the district will work closely with a talent expert who will ensure that corrective plans are carried out in accordance with the audit findings. These yearly audits will result in improved processes and internal controls, ensuring continued compliance and fiscal stewardship of taxpayer funds. This concludes the most exciting presentation of the night. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Dr. De Alba. Any questions regarding the audit? I think we're good. Okay. Thank you, thank you.
We need to have, yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we accept the audit as presented.
Okay, we have a motion by Representative Marquez, seconded by Board Member Cross. Is there any discussion? Okay.
Oh, she did, okay.
And we have to do a roll call vote, right? Okay. We'll now do a roll call vote on the motion. Board members, please indicate a yea or nay, or any abstentions when I call you. Board Member Meyer?
Aye. Or, yeah.
Board Member Pastor Rivera?
Aye.
Board Member Cross? Aye. Mike?
Aye.
Representative Marquez?
Aye.
Clerk Oliver?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Motion carries. Next item is 13C, interviews for the school board member vacancy and nomination of candidates with potential action. We actually don't have our candidate due to a health emergency. So there you go.
I just want to share that we'll be recasting extending the deadline for Ward 1 candidates. Beginning tomorrow morning, they can submit the same way that they have, as well as some targeted digital marketing efforts. So if you know someone or you yourself are part of Ward 1 and not an employee, you can be a board member today too. Maybe. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and keep that open for another week till noon on April 11th. And then we're going to come together on Monday, April 14th at 6 p.m. for a special meeting where it's just a meeting for the interviews. So that will still come within the guidance of the county's deadlines. And hopefully we get more candidates. And so we'll see what that brings. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Andrade. Any questions or comments regarding this? Moving on. Next item is 13D, approval of recommendations for alternative to expulsion placement for student 2024-25-08. Is there a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation for an alternative to expulsion placement for the student identified as 2024-25-08?
Motion.
Is there a second? A motion's been made by Board Member Meyer and seconded by Representative Marquez. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next item is 13E, approval of revised governing board policy, JLCD, administering medicines to students on first reading. Is there a motion to approve the item as presented?
Madam Chair, can the superintendent explain the policy change quickly before we vote on it?
Again, this is just coming from the advice of ASBA and the guidance from the legislature, just keeping our administration of medications tight within the policy, no expired medicines, who on the staff can administer an EpiPen, can students carry their inhaler, again, if it's prescribed to them, the policy is pretty straightforward and recognizes exactly like who can carry, who can administer, who needs to be trained, and again, all students with the ability to carry Narcan. So if you have any questions specifically, I know Irene Diaz can probably walk you through it very, very detailed, but it's generally just, that's my summary of it, I would say.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we adopt revisions to policy JLCD on first reading.
Second. Thank you. A motion has been made by Board Member Marquez and seconded by Clerk Oliver. Is there any discussion? Okay. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? And motion carries. The next item is 13F, approval of revised governing board policy, GBGB, staff personnel security and safety on first reading. Ms. Andrade.
I apologize. As promised, we are bringing back a first draft that we expect to have a robust conversation about tonight. One in the area of staff. Again, the second policy focused on students, and the third focused on visitors. Although the broad policy is not all that different for the three groups. Again, I want to thank Eileen for collaborating with other districts across the nation and writing the policy, crafting it in such a way that it just gives flexibility. If we were to shift it, things wouldn't just automatically be violated for policy. So it's, things like the district may, and we know in our practices exactly when we will and when we won't. But again, I think it's about taking it one policy at a time, and we'll go ahead and start with staff. Obviously, we are recommending that if they're a Phoenix Union employee, that they do not need to go through the weapon detection system. But again, if they're coming to a football game, they may have to walk through it to get to the game, if that's the only way in. So we're trying not to, again, they've already been vetted. We feel like they've been vetted as our employees. They have fingerprint clearance cards, and they know the rules. They're adults. So again, it's really at this point up to you to take a look at that policy and see if there's any changes or revisions that you'd like to see to staff, students, or visitors.
Yes, I have a question. I know that at City Hall, as a city employee, I need to display my ID. If I do not have my ID on there indicating that I am a city employee, I have to go through the security protocol of a metal detector. They x-ray any bags that I have, and then I get a visitor's badge. That's a lot, but I also recognize that we should have some sort of visual signage that this person belongs on campus, staff, faculty, and if they forget that or they don't have it, they need signage indicating that they are allowed on campus. So I just wanted to lift that up.
And for us, it's our IDs as well, that we expect staff to wear and carry their IDs. And visitors, I believe, through a lot of the school systems have the visitor badges as well.
Any other questions, discussions?
I do have some, this falls into a general motion I have. So I'm wondering, like, lawyers, is this the time for me to mention the provision I want to adopt or give?
Is it related to policy GBGB specifically?
It's, GBG is included along with JIH or KI, or should I wait until?
Maybe we can combine, President Napa, it's obviously your choice here, but perhaps we could combine discussion of items F, G, H, J, K, L. They sort of go together as Superintendent Andrade was talking about. So perhaps we could have that discussion, especially if we have motions that cross multiple policies.
Okay, for clarity, we're looking at 13, right? Where are we in 13? 13F, G, H, and J.
J, K, and L. So J, K, and L are the
there it is.
regulations that accompany the policies. They are for information only, but if there are comments relevant to the policies that may impact the regulations, I think it's important to have that discussion. So the only one we would be skipping is the graduation requirements on second reading. Come back to that because that's not really related to all the safety policies that you are looking at now, so.
Okay.
So FGH.
I move then to combine agenda items 13F, G, H, J, K, and L for discussion. Thank you. Motion has been made by me
Second.
and seconded by Clerk Oliver. Any discussion? All right. Now
I
we're
do
talking
have-
about all of those.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Aye.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
there's supposed to be a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Here we go. Now we're talking about all of those items.
Madam President.
Board Member Pastor Rivera, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and just get started. Good evening, members of the board, educators, parents, and community members. Tonight, I'm bringing forward a rule that is both a matter of safety and fairness, one that encourages responsible decision-making while ensuring our schools remain secure. The Safe Harbor Rule is a necessary step in how we address student accountability, intervention, and protection within our school community. If enacted, this rule is simple in its intent. It allows individuals who mistakenly bring a prohibited item to campus or who find one on school property to voluntarily turn it in without facing automatic disciplinary action. We recognize that sometimes mistakes are made. Whether a young adult or staff member unintentionally carries a prohibited item in their backpack or discovers a dangerous object on campus, Safe Harbor gives them a path to do the right thing without fear of immediate punishment and policing. However, let me be clear. This rule does not excuse reckless behavior. It applies only if the student self-reports before an investigation has begun or before they have been identified as part of an inquiry. Safe Harbor is not a loophole. It is a safeguard that balances accountability with fairness. Under this rule, a student who voluntarily surrenders a prohibited object will not automatically face discipline. Instead, they may receive a discipline referral, a threat assessment, and/or a safety plan, ensuring that interventions replace harsh punitive measures when appropriate. Parents or guardians will be contacted to retrieve the item when applicable. If a student finds a prohibited object, such as a weapon or drugs, on campus or on a school bus and reports it to a school official, they will not be penalized simply for making that report. Of course, there are limits to this policy. If an investigation has already started, Safe Harbor will not apply. If an item is found during a random security search, the student does not receive Safe Harbor protections. And while Safe Harbor allows the district to recommend intervention instead of expulsion in certain cases, law enforcement still has the authority to pursue charges when required by law, particularly for serious offenses like firearms or explosive devices. As we consider the implementation of weapons detection systems, this rule ensures that students who realize they have made a mistake have the opportunity to correct it before it escalates into something that could jeopardize their education and future. The goal of Safe Harbor is not to weaken school discipline, but to strengthen our culture of trust, responsibility, and safety. It sends a message to our community that honesty matters, that doing the right thing matters, and that we as a district believe in intervention and education over unnecessary punishment and over policing. Additionally, this rule strikes the balance between maintaining school safety and ensuring that our disciplinary measures are fair, just, and most importantly, effective. I urge my fellow board members to support this policy, not just for the safety of our schools, but for the fairness and integrity of how we guide our students toward making responsible choices and decisions. With this being said, I move that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JIH with the condition that the superintendent add a safe harbor provision to policy JIH for board approval during the second reading of policy JIH at the May 2025 Governing Board meeting. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
I want lawyer's opinion on where my provisions fall into place with his motion, if I just amend mine to his motion upon reading.
So we could, if there are additional amendments that might be made to this policy, right now, Member Pastor Rivera could simply move to, not for the acceptance right now, but just for the addition of this to, for the second read. And then there could be, again, some additional comments that are made as we go along.
Okay,
I don't know exactly where your motions are going to go, but.
So we have a motion and second. We can go to discussion. Board Member Meyer can discuss her motion and then go back to the original Board Member Pastor Rivera to see if he amends.
If we
or
need to.
accepts.
Exactly, thank you.
So go ahead, Board Member Meyer.
Okay, but can you repeat what you just said? Did you say accept the board policy, or are you gonna change it to like in addition to the second read?
So which exactly my original one? Yeah, I said I move that the governing board approve the first reading of policy JIH with the condition that the superintendent add a safe harbor provision to policy JIH for board approval during the second reading of policy JIH at the May 2025 governing board meeting.
Okay, so then along those lines, since you're saying approving of the first reading, my motions or provisions, I have a list of 4. And I have already talked to the district lawyer about this. So these are like worded, you have them in front of you to read. So so I'll start from the beginning. So you can choose to add to your motion, but I'm moving that there's a provision to be added to policy JIH that states that the superintendent will present student tardy rates, student discipline data related to incidents involving advanced weapon detection systems, and the number of secondary searches conducted on students as a result of activating the advanced weapon detection system once a year to the governing board. And I state this because I really care about data, and I really, like your last motion said that in 3 to 5 years we evaluate this, and I think data is a key point in evaluating these. And then the second provision I'm putting forward is I move that a provision be added to policy JIH, so the one with the students, that states school staff will make appropriate and required accommodations for ESS students that may need accommodations to go through the advanced weapon detection system. So I know schools are already mindful of this. I just want to make sure we have that in writing. But I know, like I already saw it happen in Maryville when I saw the weapons detection system. And then the third provision is that I move that a provision be added to the governing board policies, so all 3 that we're examining, JIH, GBGB, and KI, that continuous training shall be provided to staff and students on the advanced weapon detection systems, and that there will be communication to the community, staff, and students about the use of the advanced weapon detection systems on district properties. And then the fourth one is more just language, just because this is clarity, because in one policy we say metal detectors, and another one we say something else. So I move that we include the term advanced weapon detection system to governing board policies, to just be exact of like the language.
So after we have discussion, we could have Member Pastor Rivera, if he wanted to withdraw his motion, we could have one motion that combines each of these elements for at least policy JIH, and then we could take GBGB and KI. I've got sort of it. We could kind of roadmap it out if that's where you want to go with this.
Okay, so we are now doing discussion on all those items. Does anybody have points of discussion?
Just for clarity, Member Meyer, on the provision about training for staff and students, what training for students are you alluding to?
I know that the schools usually give like a demonstration of like, you take your laptop out, and then you take your water bottle, like especially saying like what triggers the system. because when I was watching the weapons detection system, they specifically told me like the water, like a metal water bottle can set it off, a ringed binder, things like that. So to like mitigate, I guess, the bottleneck of like all the students trying to get it at once and that's why it's like letting them know like, hey, take the stuff out of your backpack before passing through, just not creating false alarms.
Thank you.
I have a question, just to get clarity on the data collection. I love data, so I'm all about collecting. And I believe the systems collect the data of any time it goes off. And anytime we have to do a secondary search, absolutely want to collect that data. But I noticed you also wanted tardy data as well as, I guess, just discipline data. And so that's a huge word, right? It could be a referral out of the classroom, third hour, because the kid's fallen asleep, or you don't know the different reasons.
But
Are we
it's-
talking about suspension? Are we talking about all discipline? Or is there something specific you would like us to collect and
Yeah,
report?
so what I was envisioning is like for the tardiness, like let's say a student is pulled aside and then it's like talking to them, the search or whatever takes long enough that they are late to next class, if that's even a thing. And then for discipline, I was just wondering like what happens, like I want to see like the trail of like what happens, like let's say a student is, something detected in their bag and then they're pulled aside and like it's searched. And then let's say they find contraband. So then like what would go on from there? Like just kind of like a pathway to we can see like, well, what are we finding? What kind of resources are going to be needed at that school based on more common contraband found, I guess. Yeah, and it goes along into like root causes because then you can start asking the student, well, why'd you bring this? Like what's happening outside of school that you're bringing this here? Yeah.
Thank you.
And then also, we're talking about data collection. I think data is going to be really important for the board. That's going to revisit this once the technology is stagnant and we need to perhaps even invest even more money in metal detectors to replace the ones that we have, that we're going to have. So I would like to have some sort of, in addition to the data that Board Member Meyer wants to collect, it would be, I think, a good idea to get a monthly report that tallies cumulatively the data that we're tracking. So, for example, School A had this many items found. Year to date, it is actually this many, so on and so forth. And I think this goes along with Board Member Meyer's, to clarify, this would be basically a summary of incidents of the prohibited items found, right? So we're looking at what kind and type of weapon it is, or if it was some other weapon and other prohibitive items like drugs or other items that might trigger the alarm.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the other thing too, I would like to see this data collected in a central location, so it would come to the district from those campuses rather than each campus housing their own data. It needs to be, this data needs to be reported to a centralized database for all of our schools.
Okay. I'm not sure how that works with the actual equipment as far as, is it downloaded on a computer at the site and then can be, we can work with the vendors around that. I'm just not as familiar with, we've never done more than two, so bringing it all together.
President Napa, board members, Superintendent Andrade, we can definitely work out the piece that comes directly from the weapons detection systems. But as we have started creating some operational procedures, we also have created a draft of a log that the staff will keep whenever there is like a secondary search or something is found, and that data will be submitted to the safety department. We will track all of that. Much like we send you a weekly safety report, we could easily send you a monthly safety report on AWDS.
So my envisioning of, well, the rationale for data collection in one central location
is, number one, to keep campuses accountable, so that way data is submitted in order to run those reports in a timely manner versus waiting for all of the campuses and the stragglers to submit their reports. The other thing is, accountability for, what's the word I'm looking for? Good intent, basically. What are the consequences for a campus that is not turning in their data or who is not collecting this information? And quite frankly speaking, to hold accountable, metal detectors go away for that campus until they get their house in order. Yeah.
Well, and we have an entire safety department that I think can work directly with the leadership of Dr. Allen to ensure that they are held accountable, and there was actually weekly reports that are submitted. That they're in the process of doing that with other things, so this can be replicated. I'm also curious to see what the company can get to us as far as data collection right out of the machine itself without even involving the campuses. And many times it goes off. There's some that we're going to need the campus for searches and things like that, but there's other pieces of calibration, things like that, that we should be able to get directly from the machines.
Yeah, and all of this, again, not just for accountability, but for ease of access to data, being able to run queries, being able to run reports with the data in one central location. Again, not having to go or have access to each campus's data. And then under J, item number J, GBR, what happens to students who are tardy as a result of a screening? What will happen to them? Is there anything punitive? Do their tardies add up? Because we know that students, just like myself, will get to campus just in time, and that may not be conducive to actually going through the metal detectors.
I would actually invite Mr. Doherty to the podium if he is available to come speak to the procedures at Maryville. He's out there every morning, come rain or shine. They have a certain time when they say, okay, that's it. And that is well past the tardy time, I believe. But he is the resident expert on this. I don't want to misspeak.
Good evening, President Napa. During the pilot, some of the practice, I feel there's some categories of maybe what you're looking for. So to the just-in-time kid getting there, walking through the system itself requires no time. They're just walking through a gate. If it were to go off, typically what happens is we'll ask the student to walk through again. Other things set off the machine. Windy days, wind will set them off, so we have sandbags. So if they're going off a lot and we're not detecting anything, we'll get those sandbags on there to try and take care of that. And that's covered in the initial training from the company. If a student is detected, they go over to a secondary table. Those searches, our goal was to have that search take 15 seconds or less, because we weren't doing a search per se of all their belongings. We take their bag, which we think is suspect. We ask the student to go back through the gate. And then we do a quick search. We're looking for a weapon that can cause mass casualty. So we're not looking for small pocket knives. We're not looking for drugs or vapes. At least at Maryville, we weren't. We were looking for weapons, rifles and large handguns. And so it's a quick look in there. Many times they're little pockets. We wouldn't even open them. We would feel. But the goal was 15 seconds. And then administration was out there watching. When we noticed something taking longer than 15, maybe 30, we would have a conversation with the safety unit or the staff that was helping us that day. As far as being tardy to class, I guess if they're not just in time, we keep our front gate open for an extra about 15 minutes past the bell. And so they're not even going through the office. They're coming to school as normal. And we don't shut our front gate at Maryvale until the official tardy time had passed. So now by rule, you're absent because you're that late. So we don't believe that there were any tardies or students held accountable to their tardiness because of the gate system. We push that through. We also have about a 10-minute window where we let kids get to class without even a pass. So school started 8:15. We go another 10 minutes, and we ask teachers to accept them into their class.
Without recording them as tardy?
Oh, they would be recorded as tardy, but there's no discipline consequence to that. In the book, I suppose, there's definitions like a total of, I think it's 10 or 12, 10% in the law and all that, that you may lose credit for your course, and then there's more around that. But we really try, I believe, as a district to be considerate, conscious, compassionate around that whole thing. And there's not a whole lot of people who enforce that at that 10 and 12 rule. Like, we have students with 30 absences who are passing classes and getting A's and B's. It can be a factor. It's almost even a separate issue. We don't believe that the gates during the pilot contributed to an increase in that. We didn't even really keep data on it. So that's what I can share from my recollection.
I'm going to focus you back. I'm sorry. I need to focus the board back on the policy language and revisions to that.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Policy language question. What counts as school property in regulation? Oh, what board doc is this? Or item? It's on J. We scroll down to weapon detection screening program. All that's in blue. And we scroll down a little bit more. The open gate system utilizes new and highly advanced technology, which is non-intrusive to students and visitors and their ingress to schools or school district property. Can we get some clarification on what that means?
Certainly, President Napa. School property is anything that we own. So for our purposes, it's everything within our fenced area. So it includes our parking lots, it includes our fields, it includes our buildings. It does not include sidewalks. We have no jurisdiction over sidewalks. It does not include the store down the street. We have no jurisdiction for any of that. It includes what's encased within our campus property.
What about vehicles?
Vehicles, like our vehicles?
Our school vehicles?
Yes, if the Student Code of Conduct is very clear that it also applies to behavior within a school vehicle, yes.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Board Member Meyer, point 4, you're moving to use the term advanced weapon detection systems in the 3 policies, and I think we'd also need to include it in the regulations as well. But I would actually see if you'd be willing to change that to striking advanced weapon detection systems, or I think some instances of just weapon detection screening program to metal detectors. I know we heard from the researchers that, these are different than metal detectors. I think these are still metal detectors, and we should call them metal detectors. If you're open to that change to your point.
Oh, I was going to point to Eileen because she was helping me with the wording. Yeah.
Thank you, Member Meyer and Representative Marquez. The way that we've kind of worded this a little bit is if you take a look at, for example, policy GB, where the changes are, it would read, as part of the overall plan to protect the health, welfare, safety, and lives of students, staff, and visitors to district facilities, the district may use advanced weapon detection systems such as metal detectors or hand wands to screen students, staff, et cetera. So that is the section where Board Member Meyer wanted us to add the advanced weapon detection.
But in the weapon detection screening program, that first sentence is very specific to open gate system manufactured by, and then then I see comparable product.
Correct, and that's also in the regulation. I'm referring to just the policy.
Yes, I was looking at the policy. Okay. Any other discussion? I guess I just have a procedural question of, once these go through the process and it's vetted and if or when they get accepted, how are students and parents informed about the metal detectors and about consequences and things of that nature?
So we would really do a large communication plan beginning at the minute these policies are adopted, so that our parents are aware of what's happening, when it's happening, the consequences, the intended or unintended, and when it will go into effect. I think as far as the staff, that will be done probably in the summer with the teams that come back to work in July. For the students, Board Member Meyer had a great suggestion when we spoke about just taking some time during advisories and things like that. Maybe even have student-created videos that kind of go a little bit deeper into, weapon detection, metal detector, but really, I think what we're talking about is the code of conduct, and do you understand that vehicles count? Do you understand property? Do you understand the safe harbor provision? Because it's not going to help you if you don't know, and so really spending that time on the front end to educate our students, as well as our ESS classrooms, and just getting in front of our kids. We have certainly a good amount of principals that engage our parent groups, but we also will communicate on social media, we'll communicate through in writing, we'll communicate through robocalls, and signage, and I could go on and on. Lots of different ways, multiple times, so that it reaches everyone.
Thank you. I'm out of questions. Anyone else?
I wanted to add another point of clarification.
Through the chair.
What? Madam Chair?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So along the point that Superintendent Andrade said, that's where the continuous training idea I had. More so just like you said, like students know, I was thinking like their advisory, maybe like once a quarter, something where like the students present is there, because I know Habit, at least when I was in high school, Habit was like, here, sign this code of conduct, here, sign this like student handbook. And honestly, like I'm an IB nerd. I was like a really big nerd in school. I was not reading that thoroughly. I was like, I have so much homework. Like, what am I gonna do? Read this next essay? So like I really want the information to be accessible, especially since students in this age have shorter, shorter content is better for them. And so making sure that they're aware of that, which goes along with I know Ms. Hernandez and I talked about this, where personal searches, for example, they need to understand you can't really deny a personal search at the entrance of the metal detector weapon detection system, but in other cases there's a differentiation for personal searches where you can consent to, and you can say also don't search me. So having that clear understanding for students of what's relevant specifically to the weapon detection system versus outside of that.
Thank you, Board Member Meyer.
President Napa?
Yes.
If I can make a suggestion for how we move forward, since we have a motion and a second here, and have had a lot of discussion, would that be okay with you?
Yes.
So it would require Member Pastor Rivera to amend your motion. So right now, your motion calls for the addition of a safe harbor provision to policy JIH, and I'll come back to some of yours here. And I think that if we have it so that you approve the first reading of policy JIH with a condition that the superintendent add a safe harbor provision to policy JIH, that a provision be added to either policy JIH or its regulation that provides the data that Member Meyer has requested, and that a provision be added to the policy or the regulation, again, JIH or JIHR, related to school staff making appropriate and required accommodations for ESS students who may need accommodations to go through the advanced weapon detection system. Those would be the three additions to policy JIH and/or the accompanying regulation JIHR. And do you want to amend your motion to include those two additional items?
I will amend.
And then I think that, okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Do we have more discussion?
You can, you do not need to, but we'll come back to, there's two additional items that Member Meyer has asked, but those are related to more policy, so this is just the JIH.
Thank you. Representative Marquez, looked like you had something to add.
Madam President, Ms. Fernandez, I understand your explanation of using advanced weapons detection systems as in a sentence. I still disagree that throughout we should refer to them as metal detectors. And so I would add that as my request to Representative Pastor to have these policies be conformed to using metal detectors throughout.
So that was, we haven't taken up that, but he can amend his motion. We haven't taken up that issue, that member, that was a separate motion for all of the policies. So perhaps we can do this one and then have a motion that is across policies, if you want to, about metal detectors. Does that make sense?
So we can do this in JIH first?
Well, I was going to try to combine JIH, GB, and KI, because for the things that were consistent across the board, and just take these were the items that were just specific to JIH and JIHR. I was trying to make it so that we just take those and then we go to the next two, which are across all three policies and regulations. And you could make the motion at that time.
Got it, thanks.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second, we can have some discussion. Okay, we're going to go to vote. On the motion, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent, motion carries.
Then the next potential motion goes to governing board policies JIH, GB, and KI, and that is regarding the continuous training providing to staff and students on advanced weapon detection systems and communication to community staff and students about the use of advanced weapons detection systems on district properties. Is that a motion that you would like to make, Member Meyer?
Yes, that is the appropriate motion.
Second. Discussion? All right, vote on, I got it. Yeah, I'm the second. So any discussion? No, it's late. All right, vote. Those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Okay. We're going to need a roll call vote then.
Okay.
Board Member Meyer?
Aye.
Board Member Pastor Rivera?
Aye.
Board Member Cross?
Aye.
Representative Marquez?
Aye.
Board Member, I'm sorry, Clerk Oliver?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Thank you so much.
And then the last item that Member Meyer suggested was the language. Given that we have some disagreement here, she had asked for including the term advanced weapon detection systems to policies JIH, GB, and KI. That may be a motion you'd like to make. It may be a motion that Representative Marquez wants to change. I'll just leave that at that, and whoever wants to make a motion along those lines can do so.
Oh, I wanted discussion. I want to hear more about your perspective, so I don't know if that fits now, or we have to make the motion first.
I mean, I can motion, and then we can have discussion. So I'll motion that we not use the term advanced weapon detection system in policies JIH, GB, and KI, and the underlying regulations as well, and that throughout we're consistent and use the term metal detectors to govern these policies.
That's the motion.
Yes.
I'll second it. Discussion.
Madam President, What's the deal? Why are you needing those terms? Because it's my understanding that advanced weapons detection system covers the wand, all the different things. So it's not just a metal detector. And what technical expertise do you have to make that delineation?
Madam Chair, Represent, about,
Say it right.
do you want to run? You want to run for representative? Clerk Oliver. I think the presentation that we received during the pilot program was pretty clear that the system we're using, that we've contracted with, is the Advanced Weapons Detection System. That's the company, and that's how they've rebranded metal detectors. And I don't think it includes the wands. I don't think we're using any wands that I'm aware of. And so I think a company changing the name of metal detectors to Advanced Weapon Detection Systems, I think is more accurate to call them metal detectors.
Madam President, I just think that's an archaic term because they are advanced weapons detection. They're not the same as they were 20 years ago, 10 years ago. They are different. They are not the same. And this comes from my expertise in law enforcement. Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Board Member Cross.
I do believe we used wands. I think I heard it out there in the audience. Okay, we had two wands going.
Oh, yeah, that
Yes,
was
it's
my.
secondary through the chair.
Oh, yes, Madam Chair.
Recognize, go ahead.
So that was, to Ms. Hernandez, that was why I had wanted to specify the language, because I was considering wands, because it's like, at least I'm basing off the experience of when I was seeing the weapons detection system at the school, where students just passed through the system, and then I didn't really see any wand use. I think it was like once, but that was, I don't know, I see them as separate. I do see like advanced weapons system as separate because of, like, the technology and the data it tracks versus like a wand does. But I don't know the specificities around that, like in the back end.
Madam President, the wands are used as a secondary search only right now. And I just want to clarify, Representative Marquez, is your motion to keep the language as it is currently written? Because the only thing we would be changing as a result of Board Member Meyer's request would be to add, the district may use advanced weapon detection systems such as metal detectors or hand wands. So it'll still include those words in there. She's just clarifying and adding in there an additional term. So I just wanted to clarify that in case that was misunderstood.
No, I think my motion was to remove the wording of advanced weapon detection systems or weapon detection systems. And I think whether it's a wand or an open gate system that you walk through, the intent of each system is to detect metal, as I understand both a wand and the open gate system.
Okay, because currently in the policies, they do not contain the words advanced weapon detection system. It's in the regulations. That's why I'm trying to get some clarification.
Well, the title of the section, Weapon Detection Screening Program.
So you want to change weapon detection screening program?
It'd be metal detector screening program.
Okay, thank you.
President Napa and Member Marquez, I do want to, I understand, like, you know what I mean, the company branding it, and, it is what it is. It's a metal detector. I do understand that. I also wonder if there's any merit in keeping both, so that parents go, well, what's that? Oh, or metal detector. They see it. But the fact that it's a weapon detection system, again, versus empty all your coins out of your pocket, take off your watch, take off your belt. I just got done at the airport, so I'm well versed. And I think Principal Doherty said it, we're looking for a weapon, right? And so we really want to keep safe schools. We're not in the business of, big earrings and things like that. So I almost wonder, for marketing purposes, in some way, keeping the weapon detection at front of mind, is that's really what we're trying to prevent in Phoenix Union versus just metal detection, empty your pockets kind of thing. But that's just a thought, because I see both sides.
Thank you. With that said, do you want to, are we ready to take a vote? Sure. All right. Those in favor of Representative Marquez's motion to replace advanced weapon detection with the word metal detector, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against?
Nay.
And I abstain. So motion fails.
Oopsie. And then, so, Member Meyer, do you want to make your motion, which was to use the term, to include the term advanced weapon detection systems in policies JIH, GBGB, and KI?
Yes, I can say that motion. I move that we include the term advanced weapons detection systems to governing board policies JIH, GBGB, and KI.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Abstentions? Motion carries.
And President Napa, we have one last motion. We did already move the first adoption on first reading of policy JIH with the revisions, but we did not move the adoption on first reading with the revisions mentioned of policies GBGB and KI.
Okay. Can we do that one motion?
Yeah, you can. You can include those two. So the motion would be to approve on first reading policies GBGB and KI with the revisions previously voted upon.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion? All right, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Now we need to go back to the graduation. Are we all done with our weapons detection? Yep, okay. 13I, adoption of revised governing board policy, IKF, graduation requirements on second reading. Do we have a motion? Is there a motion to approve the item as presented? Is there a second?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Representative Marquez and seconded by Clerk Oliver. Any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Next three items are for information only, no action required. Items 13J, receipt of revised governing board regulations, GBGR, staff personnel security and safety. 13K, receipt of new governing board regulation, JIHR, student interrogation, searches, and arrests. And 13L, receipt of revised governing board regulation, KIRA, visitors to schools.
And
These-
President Napa, I'm sorry, just to note that those will probably come back to you with some revisions based on the changes, the motions that you previously made.
Okay. Items are for informational only, and though no action is required, receipt of the governing board regulations, GBGR, JIHR, and KIRA is acknowledged. Okay. Now we can go to 14A. Next meeting, the next regular meeting of the governing board is scheduled for Thursday, May 1st at approximately 6 p.m. And 14B, request for future agenda items. Members, you have anything?
President Napa?
Hold on. I saw Representative Marquez, then Board Member Cross, and then Clerk Oliver. Representative Marquez.
Madam Chair, wanted to ask the superintendent for an update on our Know Your Rights trainings that we conducted and any plans for future trainings as number one. Number two, we heard in public comment tonight, and I think even in the guardrails, it was pointed out, defining maybe regulations around cell phones. I'd like to get an update on where we're at with that.
Thank you. Board Member Cross.
I'm not sure if I'm out of line on this one, so you might just tell me to be quiet if I am. I'm concerned of two comments. One was made at the last meeting, and then there was one made at this meeting on the bell schedules for the schools. I'm not sure, even though I was in the district for 22 years, I wasn't sure whether all the schools had the same bell schedule, and if that is conducive for different campuses, whether they can make different schedules for each school. I know I've had several teachers call me on the bell schedule, especially ending at 3:20 when their professional day ends at 3:30.
So a report back on the bell schedule?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Oliver.
Madam President, I'd like an agenda item regarding teacher retention or staff retention specifically. And what I would like is it broken down by demographics, race, gender, age for the last, I'd say, 3 years. And if we do exit interviews with people that resign, do we collect the reasons for them? And I'd like to see those as well.
I think I saw Board Member Meyer.
I have a few items I would like to request for an executive session or item in executive session, correct me on the wording, about more details on specific items that the Advanced Weapon Detection System metal detectors collects, just for board member knowledge. And am I allowed to do that?
Oh, I see. So you're asking for specifics. It would be related to safety issues?
Yeah, safety issues,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
And then I would like, this is also more for board knowledge, maybe also an executive session or wherever, or our board retreat, just go over clarification on the speaking at the dais. I see that we all have different methods, right? We're raising our hands, or we're saying like, Madam Chair, so just some kind of like standard operating procedures for conducting our meetings, just so that there's clarity around that. And then also, the last point is bathrooms. They have been coming up over and over again. I'm sure schools have been trying to find creative ways to address these issues. So could we hear back from the schools of like, how are they trying to like ensure that bathrooms are still a safe space, that are still accessible to students? Because it sounds like every school is like having a unique approach to the bathroom system. And we should figure out like what's working and what's not, so that students can feel comfortable using the bathroom as they need. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Board Member Cross.
President Napa, I'm sorry, just went blank. I received some information on the reports that we got from people who were leaving the district. Was that was people that were both resigning and retiring, correct? So.
Being dismissed.
Oh, I didn't see the dismissed part, but.
Yeah, I want information on retention of teachers and staff over the last 3 years.
Oh, the 3 years, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering where the difference was, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So any type of separation from the district. Thank you. I would also like to highlight Mr. Sanchez's public comment to SEI model, all of those concerns. And then also would like to take a look at our student code of conduct for potential revisions, specifically to tardies, student behavior, and the lack of restorative conversations when a student is suspended. Anything else? Board Member Cross, go ahead.
President Abbott, also what was brought up here tonight was student consequences. And being a former teacher in the classroom, I found that to be starting up where students were not getting consequences for the actions that they made. Makes it very difficult for the teachers to have any kind of control in the classroom if the kids know they don't have any consequences when they do something. So I would like to see that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that ties into a review of the student code of conduct revisions. Last call. Okay. Yeah, you can request your future board agenda items, but just not here. 14C, motion to adjourn. Having conducted our business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made by Board Member Pastor Rivera, seconded by Clerk Oliver. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We are adjourned.